Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Here we're back for episode 83 of the Anime Lily podcast, and we're here with two up and coming content creators here to do big waves. So let's see and what they're going to be talking about with us. What questions you guys have on the show as well? Definitely be here on the live chat, talk with us. And if you have any questions, if you're watching this on the VOD, definitely write them down below, and we will send them to their way so they can answer it as well. So let's get started. Let's hear that intro.
Welcome, Anime Lately fans. How you all doing? This is Sam the Manga Man introducing to our most entertaining Anime Lately podcast in the world, as I would recommend it for sure, because we got some great guests into ours. But so I want to introduce you guys first to our brotakus, and then we're gonna introduce our special guests, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, welcome to the most wholesome content creator, the director of anime, the certified king of games, Mr. Twitter Verify, oh my brother, testify for Ray Apollo.
And Positiva cosplayer as well.
Sure, so.
Our next specially handsome tiefling is a demon in the Black Clover community. He has a great love for Weekly Shonen Jump, the Hurricane Typhoon, Legendary Bash, the Nutter Butter Lover, the wholesome booty juice guzzler, Miguel Par. Our next Rotaku brethren is the CEO of the Careful Spoilers Podcast Network, the founder of the No Anime No Life Facebook group. He is the host of Careful Spoilers' new show, Villains. He is JB, exclusive, the incredibly talented James Barnes. And finally, our special guest, make way for the train, because the gods of the three realms is back on the Anime Lately podcast. Blessed by the archangels comes the guardians who protects the earth. And again, you're welcome, world. The godfather of Team GodPunch, Patrick Thomas, in you.
Never get tired of that. Never. You have a gift, brother.
Any good every time. That boy know what he doing.
Yep.
Yeah, like that would suck once like Sam said like, hey guys, I can't make it. So like it's usually Ray that does it, but Ray does it more like just straightforward. I was like, damn, it's not the same. It's not the
You
same.
want that energy, you know?
I mean, I'm sorry that choice just is a booty cheeks anyway, so it's fine. Anyway, welcome back, my boys. I missed y'all.
It is nice to have you guys back. It really
It
is.
feels great to be back amongst family.
Definitely.
It's been a very long time.
It's one of those things. This is where y'all belong. So you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna mention that y'all went and fraternized with some other folks, but that's fine.
It's fine.
We just started.
It's fine if you want to sleep around with others. Just make sure you come back home. You know, to make sure yeah, just make sure that you know where you belong. You know where you.
I'm not gonna say I missed you, but I missed you. You know what I'm
I
saying?
miss you too, brother.
And some life didn't happen since the last time we was here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because the whole pandemic happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
almost right after.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh man.
But
Yeah.
how have you guys been throughout this whole past year? Like, have you guys how has this pandemic treated you? Like, how things mentally, with the whole content creation wise, like how's that been for you guys?
Either you want to go first?
Highly productive, actually. Like, yeah, I know the way I just said it sounds like we were not highly productive, but we were the entire time.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I don't think we took a single break the whole year. Like, once we kind of started going, we were just working on stuff nonstop. Like, beginning of the year, that's when we got our website done. Got Google, the G Suite, and what else did we do? There was one other thing.
What are you talking about, for the website or what?
Nah, just in general, like at the beginning of the year. I know we got
We got the trademark, brother.
And the trademark.
Right.
Exactly.
Got the
That's very true.
trademark.
That's right.
That's a huge accomplishment. That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Yep. So we got all that done. We dropped chapter 2 in April.
Yeah.
Then we were gonna do the Shonen Jump contest, and we got super ambitious. And even though we wrote the script super fast because we're, amazing writing duo, it was 55 pages. So that was not going to get inked and toned within like a month and a half. It's the equivalent of like 3 chapters and like highly detailed chapters. We did try. We did try. And then after we missed the deadline, we were like, okay, we're gonna just take the next few months to finish it, and it was still taking like a long time. So I think I kind of burned out a little bit because I sketched 50-something pages and then started inking immediately after that and was just working nonstop with no breaks. And I kind of burned out. So we were like, okay, let's take a break. Let's work on GodPunch Chapter 3. I'm still slightly burned out, but I'm like, at least I'm working on something different. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
And then we've just been kind of working on and off on that one. It turned out that the script was a little bit longer than what we originally thought it was going to be, because that's why we had announced it so early. It's all good. It's all good. We had announced it earlier because I think the script was originally, 21 or 20?
Yeah, it was like 20, 21, 22 pages.
Yeah. So it ended up being 27 instead. And yeah, so we just kind of ended up, and there was just a lot going on towards the end of the year. I think I was doing my first fashion show, so I was in rehearsals and stuff every other weekend. And yeah, that's about it. So we just been working. Now it's almost done. And and then of course we got our third project that we will talk about.
Of course. Pat,
yeah. Congrats on that modeling gig, by the way. Like, how was that for you? Like being in front of all of those people for the first time like that.
It was honestly not bad. Like we rehearsed I don't know how many times, and I know the crowd wasn't there, but I'm kind of used to being in front of people now, so it wasn't really like jarring or anything. And it was really just like, okay, you go out there, you walk, you turn, you pose a couple times, and you walk out. It's like a 10-15 second experience. That's it. So it was cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start calling you Abercrombie. All right, I like it. I like it.
Not Abercrombie.
Abercrombie and Yin.
Abercrombie and Yin. I like it. Oh man!
But what do you?
We get it. Like all this stuff is hard. What y'all doing ain't easy. So I mean, don't get down on yourself. And if anybody giving you problems, let me know and I'll take care of it. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate that.
This ain't easy. Y'all doing a lot of hard work. So you keep.
That's
doing
very
what
true.
you take as long as you're doing it and you excited to still be doing it. That's all that matters to me.
You know
what
I mean?
Facts.
It's exciting. It's just, stressful. Seems like the bigger we get and the more that we try and take on, the more challenging it gets. So now, I'm actually about to start adding more people to the GodPunch team. About to start developing some committees, because I can't keep my hands in everything, because I need to actually be able to write this story out. So I'm about to start, relinquishing some assignments to some people. And after chapter 3 drops, tomorrow, we going back to work. We might take that weekend off, but we got committee meetings. We got to get the rest of the team together. We got to establish, who's gonna be in charge of what. We got to get these finances going. We transferring to a new bank, so there's always stuff for us to do.
Yeah,
And you said
one
tomorrow.
day at a time, baby.
You said
One day at a
tomorrow,
time,
a new chapter, didn't you?
So wait, is that already online, by the way, or is that just kind of something you just dropping right here?
Oh, that's an exclusive, baby.
Oh,
So what? Just say it one more time with your chest, so everybody heard what you said.
That's an Anime Lately exclusive.
Okay.
GodPunch Chapter 3 is coming tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
What time? Like EST 12, 5?
No time.
You're like, nah, we ain't doing time out here.
Don't give them no time.
You're gonna drop like Beyonce. You're not gonna see it coming. You're just gonna get that whistle notification, and it's
I'm
up.
all about it. Yeah, that's what I'm about, man.
I'll be waiting for it.
Mm-hmm.
Same here. Yeah, because you're going to be like, hey, it could be 10 p.m. EST. It's going to be coming out either way tomorrow.
It'll be my luck that it's
hopefully it's gonna be
that I'm doing tomorrow. Yeah. Oh man, no, but so man, all right. Well, I appreciate y'all sharing that here with us. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, for y'all that's listening, watching, y'all need to go read GodPunch. All right. If you ain't read the first 2 chapters, get on it, fix it. It's on Webtoon. Just type it in Webtoon. It's easy. You know what I'm saying? It's free. Go read it.
It's in the description as well of the stream as well. So if you cannot find it, go check the description. Just press see more. It's right there as well.
Joel, there you go. Right there, baby. Ask the question right as you answer. You know, we got you.
And Pat, so how you been? Like, what have you been doing,
man,
in this past year?
This past year, I've been working. I've been doing my 9 to 5 job, trying to fund the 5 to 9 job. But really, while Yenda he's been drawn, I've taken a step back as far as the creative process. Try to do a little bit more of the executive stuff. You know, talk to some of my team members about the positions that we want, where they need help. You know, if there's anything that I could do to help make their jobs a little bit easier financially, or giving them some more help and putting more people around them. It's just stuff like that, man. Like, it's kind of rough on me taking a break from the creative side of things because I really do love the story. But we're building a brand now. So it's bigger than a manga. It's actual business. So I'm just taking a step back from the thing that I love and just kind of trying to get the foundation together, because once chapter 3 drops, then we back in business. So that's just it, man.
Cool.
I love to hear it, man. I mean, it's just what you said there at the end. You working your 5 to 9. That's important. I feel like a lot more people are starting to realize that. And I in a way, this pandemic was a blessing and a curse. You know what I'm saying? It gave all of us kind of a way to figure out, okay, what we doing every day ain't as sustainable as we thought it was. So we got to start figuring out other ways to do the stuff that we want to do. So I hope that a lot of people took a lot of time to look inward and be like, all right, what can I be doing to get to where I want to be? Because I mean, we had plenty more time, I'll tell you that.
That was our biggest goal. We did not want to sit still. Even though we weren't releasing content, we were always working on something. But I just feel like we doing the heavy lifting now. So in the future, we can give everybody everything they need, and we don't have to worry about dealing with all this stuff.
I'm a big fan of the what's the saying, move in silence. I'm a big fan of that. You know what I'm saying? So everybody ain't got to know what you're doing. I mean, as long as you know what you're working, that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like it really sucks to see like all of the businesses that are closing and those people that lose their jobs. But like content creators, like there's so much to do to fill in those spaces and what people wanted to watch during quarantine or read during quarantine. So it's like it created this great space for us. Like I've never made more content than during quarantine and up to this point.
Same.
So it's like it's great, and I can't wait to see like what you guys release and when you release it, man. It's gonna be great.
Absolutely agree. This whatever. How long has it been? 15 years. This past 15 years, I done worked harder on my content I think I ever have. Period. So it's like, well, what else am I doing?
and plus to add about that, like me going back to take classes for the production type of system of film and TV, I kept being told like this pandemic made people more hungry to film and to have more in the content creation aspect, where people wanted to create more for Netflix, Hulu, and other outlets. So like this pandemic made it more people want to be creative, and that's the part that is very beautiful about it, where you guys were trying to move in silence but still making content behind the scenes. So when it comes to this 2021 year, you guys are just ready to launch and have more stuff ready to pop out now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was our thing. Take care of the legalities. Make sure you got your I's dotted and your T's crossed. So I mean, I'd rather us kind of take things slow now in the beginning, because we ain't even 2 years in. I'd rather us take stuff slow in the beginning and get our foundation taken care of. As opposed to us getting, a couple chapters in and people are really excited about the story. Then we got to go on hiatus because, we didn't take care of business. So.
That's true. That's cool.
See, I know that's one thing I really admire. I'm gonna be sappy with y'all for a second. One thing I really admire about y'all, like you follow a process that you set for yourselves, but you are strict on yourselves with that process because you see the bigger picture of it. You're not just seeing what's right in front of you. You can see all of it. It's like, all right, well, if we fail here, we fail here, and so
Right.
you I love that about y'all. So it's a good thing to share with folks, especially folks who will consider doing something like what y'all are doing. It's like don't just focus on what's here. You got to be looking out here at the same time. And I know that's hard, but you got to if you want to be successful. So
Right. Yeah.
And plus, I had a question about what you said that you kind of got the legal side and about the brand name and everything. How did that work? Like, how was the process about that? Like, in case somebody here in chat wants to be a content creator in the writing aspect, how would they get the name in the whole legal
Trademark.
aspect? You get the trademark.
Well, we have an attorney, and
Mhm.
so she's specifically a trademark attorney. So us getting the brand protected and taken care of was right up her alley. So literally, all we did, I told her what we needed, sent her the money, she took care of the rest. So unfortunately, I can't go. I don't have the answers, as far as the legalities of it, because I paid my attorney, she took care of all of it, and everything was good.
I followed her the moment you guys posted it. I'm like, well, I need to get my stuff done
Yeah,
ASAP.
she's great. She really is great. So she really looked after us.
Can she work in a different state? Because like we're in New York. Can she help us there?
Now that I'm not sure. I'll have to ask her and see. But I could definitely get back to you. I could hit her tomorrow and ask.
Cool.
That would be perfect because I'd like to know too, like, how can I make anime lately official and everything so nobody
Right.
can make a name? Because I like to make sure because we have questions about that. But I would love to know about that. So when you get the chance, that would be great.
Oh yeah.
But
not to give people in our chat notice like, oh wait, or anime lately's not yet trademarked. Can I steal it? No, don't you
No,
dare.
God.
Don't
it's
you
been
dare do it.
trademarked- It's been trademarked the whole time. You're best to relax.
that's very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
But one of the questions that in the chat I saw is that with this whole quarantine, with this whole pandemic, have you guys had the chance, or where you create more, right? But have you also had the chance to watch more movies, TV, read more manga, read more series from Shonen Jump, watch more anime that season, even though 2020, a lot of stuff got pushed for technically this year. So have you had the chance to actually watch more or read more to get more inspiration for movies, TVs, like any type of medium?
For me, I can't speak for you, but for me, it's kind of been about the same. I've honestly been really stressed with God Punch. It's still fun, but handling the business side, it's a lot less fun than doing the creative part. So my manga anime intake has kind of been the same. I have been, of course, starting new things, looking at different works of fiction, but I've really just kind of been putting my all into God Punch, and whenever I can, kind of take a break and focus on my mental health. I'll try and adjust something new. I recently watched all of the Hobbit and all of the Lord of the Rings trilogy for the first
Nice.
time. Yeah, and
I,
so
I still never seen them here.
The first
oh,
time?
it's
Extended
beautiful.
editions.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Really?
You
What?
watched the
First time, for
extended
real?
editions, right?
Hmm?
You saw the extended editions, right?
editions?
There's an extended edition.
Oh,
Bro.
I watched it.
The
I watched it
extended-
on HBO Max. So
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
got the extended 4K edition now, and it's
Man,
all right, but
I still haven't seen any of them, so trust me, I'm here at this boat, still being 24 years old, but I still haven't seen any of them. I've heard about
They
them.
got a bunch of big words. You'll be all right.
I'm
Yeah.
not a big fan of the Hobbit trilogy, but
I've heard
the
about
Lord of
that,
the
yeah.
Rings trilogy is amazing. I think it's probably the best trilogy ever made.
It ages much better than Harry Potter ever will. So
Oh yeah.
So
wholeheartedly agree.
The Hobbit is the prequel, right? And the Lord of the
Yes,
Rings is technically the sequel. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
yep. So yeah, the Hobbit trilogy is yeah.
It's
What James
alright.
said. What James said is alright, but the Lord of the Rings shit
Lord of
is
the
like
Rings is like that, yeah.
legitimately like goated. If
Yeah.
you ask me, it's
Yeah.
very good. So. Yeah, Token was big brain for the time, you know what I'm saying? Some of the stuff, but it's crazy. I'm like, all right, you thought of this, because you saw the Industrial Revolution, okay.
It's
But yeah, back
amazing
into-
the things that just inspire people, man. Like it's crazy.
That's one thing I have been doing. Just kind of like looking for inspirations for like once I finally do pick up the pen. Also, I saw a bunch of tweets. I am gonna be looking for some writers. So yeah. If you think your pen is worthy enough to come, touch God Punch, then we could talk about it. You could DM me. My Twitter is Gumbo Goon. My Instagram is God Punch Pack. But yeah, I'm sorry.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know a few people questions throughout the past couple of days is like, how can I join the team? Like, how can I join the writing team? But I don't know if you want to do questions now, or I don't know if you want to do questions later at the end.
That's whatever y'all want to do, bro. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. Whatever cool. Are you cool with it?
I know this is a conversational show.
Yeah,
so
so
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we can do it now. Yeah, I'm fine, bro. Let me let my dog out because she's whining to get out of my room. Then she's gonna cry to get back in.
That's what they do.
But in the meantime, Yin, what?
Now that he gone, Yin, tell me about Blade Titans right now. Let's go.
Yeah, we see
Right, spit the facts. Spit the facts.
People who go to the Team GodPunch website should know.
He didn't have me like what? No.
Well, okay, so yeah, we I guess we didn't get to talk about Blade Titans last time we were on here. So, actually, did we even?
If I could,
at that point, you hadn't even announced it.
Yeah, you did not announce it before.
You mentioned an idea. You mentioned like a secret project, but you never said like what it is.
Oh yeah. Okay, man, it really has been a minute. So, okay, yeah. So Blade Titans.
15 years, I told you.
15 years. So, yeah, Blade Titans is it's a mecha series, and it takes place 300 years in the future, and the main, I guess, intro chapters take place in Neo Tokyo, which has been built up like this way because of overpopulation and stuff. So I had just had like a random idea one day. I was like, I think me and Patrick were at a Anime Matsuri, and I went home I think on the first or the second day, and had one of those random creatives at 3 a.m. moment where your mind is wandering and you're just you come up with random ideas. And I had the idea, I was like, what if like ancient swords were keys to giant mecha? Don't ask me how that idea popped into my head.
All right.
But that was it. That was the concept. And then so I just immediately went down a rabbit hole of researching ancient swords and concepts and stuff, and just kind of like doing some digging, and I narrowed it down to Japanese swords, specifically one particular moment in Japanese history, like centered around two famous swordsmiths. So yeah, that's all I can, because last time I went a little bit too, I think I was getting a little too deep when we were on Blade.
You got carried away. I was like, hey, you finna tell me the whole story.
Yeah, I got a little carried away.
I just needed a little taste, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm ready for the rest of it now. That's all I needed. Woo, yeah. Because I'm sold. I don't know if you saw, you said mecha, and I was like, that's it. I don't need no more, for real.
Yeah, I always wanted to do a mecha series. Like, I just wasn't, I guess I felt like I wasn't ready yet to do one, because I hadn't done enough research. Although I had watched a bunch of mecha, and mecha is one of my like favorite genres to watch, even though I feel like there's not a ton of great mecha series. There are a lot of good mecha series, but it's hard. I think for me, it's hard to find a series that has like a great story along with the great fights and everything. Like, it's hype, but at the same time, you're like, okay, but the story is kind of like just whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen like I think it's called, there's two different names for it. It's called like Break Blade and Broken Blade. They're like the same series.
Yes, I have Broken Blade. Yep.
Yeah, and then they were combined into like a movie or something like that.
It was like they were like two different ideas, and they're like, oh, we should make this the same idea.
Right, they're basically the same. I think they have like slight differences in them or something like that. It's weird.
Oh man, it is weird, but yeah, I feel you.
So that was kind of a momentary inspiration was Break Blade, and I'm trying to think what else was like a really big inspo for the mechas. I mean, pretty much just anything in the mecha genre that I liked. So I just was kind of like, oh, I like the Gundam kind of designs a little bit. Let me mess with that. I want my mechs to stand out and not look like mechs in the other series. So I went and did research on like what certain on like Japanese culture and mythology and stuff, and so some of the mechs based on who built them were like not the real. So there's like, okay, so there's the Titans, which is why it's called Blade Titans, and then there's just regular mechs. You know, like what Patrick referred to as the fodder mechs, because they all get destroyed. You know, like there's a lesser, you know, impersonation.
The great value mechs. You need
the great
you know
value mechs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
every
like
time you watch like a
Walmart
Gundam
mechs.
or mech series, like if you see like a bunch of Gundams pulling up and they're all the same one, you probably about to get abused.
Yeah, so it's like you see the Robotech show up and then the real Gundam show up.
It's like imagine joining the army and like your Gundam looks just like mine. You know we fought her then. Like, like you know we about to get fucked up today.
Wow.
Yeah, so there are like some fodder, you know, fodder Titans. They're like the fake ones, you know, that were impersonations that companies who discovered some of the original Titans built. So yeah, I wanted some of the fodder Titans to look distinct. I didn't want them to look, you know, the same across all nations, because this is like a global storyline. You know, there are characters from every continent.
I love that.
And the Titans, which you'll figure out later in the story, they're spread out all over the world. So, which is why each Titan has a different pilot. So there's that, and you know, I'm not gonna spoil what the design for because you'll see it in the first chapter when that drops. You'll see at the end of the chapter, you'll see the design for the fodder Titans from Japan look like. They're modeled after a mythological creature in Japan.
So dibs on the video game rights to this one. I'm just saying.
Video game.
We definitely should have like
let's go have a video game. We're gonna talk.
Like what's that really good mech video game? It's called like Ender Zone or something like that.
Oh,
Zone of the Enders.
Zone of the Enders. Yeah.
Something like that.
We're gonna talk.
To the question I saw about you talking about it. So to the question, one question was why Japan, and two was what is your favorite mecha series?
Okay. So why Japan? Okay, so originally, like I said, when I had the overarching idea about the story, which was just ancient swords in general. And then when I started looking up the swords and how they were all different, and they had, you know, some of them were just ceremonial and stuff from different countries. A lot of the countries didn't even use swords like that. They just kind of were like carried them just to have them. I was like, okay, this probably would be a lot easier if I just narrowed it down to a specific region. Like Japan, for instance, you know, and Japan has one of the greatest swordsmiths of all time in Masamune. So that was pretty easy. You know, that's like everybody knows Masamune. I mean, Masamune is a name you'll hear for a sword in multiple video game franchises, movies, all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I figured that might be the easiest region to use. And yeah, it just made sense because I was like, Tokyo and mechs is like that's a thing in Japanese culture. So so that's why I chose Japan.
All right.
But in terms of my favorite mecha series, ooh, that's kind of tough. I mean, Gurren Lagann is always like
talk
tier.
Speak
you know, like,
to them.
That's one of my favorites
Tell
of all
them.
time. When I watched that for the first time, that was like, I think that really was like my gateway. Not necessarily the gateway, because I think I watched Robotech for, you know, before I watched any other mecha series. Because my dad used to love Robotech.
I was literally listening to the intro of Gurren Lagann before we got on.
Oh, really?
I mean, Robotech is a great, like, you know, bottom shelf starter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For what it is, like it was
exactly.
You know,
for what it is,
yeah.
It's like, yeah, this Jack got legs now. Lit.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, and you gotta, you know, it's not Gundam. It's like, I wouldn't say it paved the way for Gundam, because I think Robotech is older than Gundam. It is, right?
It is.
So it's kind of like you know, you got to pay homage because it was there before Gundam. You're like, okay, Robotech, you know what it is, it's cool. And then Gundam just kind of came on the scene and was like, okay, now we take over the mecha genre.
It was Gundam, and I think it was Evangelion around the same time.
Yeah. And see, like, I haven't seen all of Evangelion, so can't really like put that in. I can't rank it among all the other series that I've watched.
That's fine.
I've seen like all the Noah Zero. I've seen like I already said Gurren Lagann. I've seen Breakblade. I used to love Zoids. Zoids is a mecha anime.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah,
Works.
used
Yep.
to be good.
Only the first one,
Yeah,
though.
we're not-
Fuck
we're
the
not-
rest
only
of
the
them.
first one.
Nah, we don't talk about the rest of them. Nope, just the first one.
You talking about New Century Zero,
New
right?
Century
With,
Zero is the only one we recognize in this house.
that's second. I looked it up after
technically second.
because I used to watch it. It's actually like the third.
Is it because after
There's
after
two
the
before it.
Fusers? Yeah.
Yeah, there's Fusers, and then there was Chaotic Century, and then there was
Chaotic
New
Century.
Zero.
Yeah, and so New Century Zero is straight up it's the GOAT. But the rest of them
Yeah.
they was like, we got this story and it's weird, and that's why they weren't popular.
I don't like. Yeah, I saw that they were making a new one, and I was just kind of like.
So Zoids Wild has a cool concept. It's just that they decided it was like, let's completely aim this at children, and that's the problem.
right, yeah. And I was like, I didn't like it because I was like, it sounds cool, like with
Exactly.
the whole.
It's a cool
thing
idea.
going
It was just
on,
like, but
but-
let's make sure that 5-year-olds like it.
Right.
They accomplished that mission.
I turned it on.
The old fans, they can't really get into it because.
I mean,
Yeah.
the kids got to have something, I guess. So that's fine. They can have that one. That's okay.
I guess I turned it on for like 5 minutes and then I turned it off immediately.
Yeah,
It's okay. We still got Cyborg 009. We're fine. That's a mech anime too. You can't tell me no different.
There was also Big O.
Big O, that's my boy. I mean,
It's like Japanese Bruce Wayne. Love Big
He's
O.
literally Japanese Bruce Wayne. Straight up.
Me is sports, and those mecha anime are the two genres I'm very weak at. I need to watch more because those two is like the ones that I barely have seen a lot.
It's not like you've watched Hunter x Hunter either.
I feel like we talked about this our first interview. This was like
We did. Yo,
he's
anyway,
like 7 episodes in,
6.
right, Vash?
6.
you know what? I think there was another question I saw there in
Oh,
chat for Yin. Somebody asked, you did a lot of research on Japan for your characters as well.
Like just Japan in general. I'm assuming yes. Like I did, when I got into of course, my main thing was the swords, but of course you have to go into the regions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The history of the continent and all that kind of stuff. So I did pull some big tropes from famous series that take place in Japan and stuff that are kind of futuristic. With the whole the corporation that found said artifacts, are creating the replicas, but they're also they basically own the city because they're the richest and all that kind of stuff. And there's some noticeable tropes in it, but I didn't want them to be like, oh, this is clearly just this series with a different skin on it. You know what I'm saying? But I did a lot of research on Japanese mythology, like I was saying, especially for the Titan designs the fodder Titan designs that come out of Japan, and not even just Japan in general. I mean, I did a lot of research when I was building the city itself, kind of like what would happen if overpopulation was really, really bad in Japan. I was looking up statistics and stuff to make my analysis of what the world would be like in 300 years somewhat correct or accurate, and that kind of helped me build okay, so the city is going to be 3 miles high or something like that. There's certain sectors that are, built on top of the old city. So, people who are below the poverty line or at the poverty line would live at the bottom, basically on the scraps of the rest of the city,
Yeah.
And I chopped the city up based on class. So there's bottom tier at the bottom, Wakinoshita, it's called the armpit. Then Shinzo, I think.
That's where the people who ain't watched Hunter x Hunter live, right?
No, Wakinoshita would be where the people who haven't watched Hunter x Hunter live.
Gotcha. Nailed it.
Yeah.
All right.
So Shinzo is the middle ground, that's the commercial district, that's where all the malls and and the businesses are. And then there's Choten, which is at the top, and basically it's almost like an oasis on top of the city. There's like multiple areas where the cities are built. Like that's the highest point. I mean, Choten literally means the apex or the highest point. And that's where all the rich people live. And there are some businesses up there, but it's mostly like just wealthy people. That's it. It's like a playground for them. So I did all of that research on Japan, even though the story only takes place in Japan for a handful of chapters in the beginning. And then we move over to like the West, and there's a whole corporation in the West that has Titan technology and all that kind of stuff. As far as the character roster, there will be characters from South America, characters from. There's one character from Africa who I showed his design on Twitter. That's Hamza. He's from Morocco. There's, of course, got to have somebody from the West, somebody from the U.S. And
how about South America?
Yeah, South America. Yeah, there's one from a South American, like indigenous tribe actually. That's where he's from. So and yeah, I don't want to get y'all ask questions and it makes me want to talk about it, but I can't talk about it.
That's what we good at, baby. It's a conversational podcast.
And what's funny, these questions are from chat. I haven't asked my 2 questions yet that I've been holding on to. So my 2 questions, it depends if you want to answer. One is, are there kaijus in this mecha since in Japan, and with Japan lore, there's always kaijus in when there's mecha around. And 2 is, I remember you talking about how Blade Titans and GodPunch will be intertwined or somehow connected. Is that still true, or was that like a misinterpretation, or how's that would be?
They're not connected. I think we were going to do some promo art with the characters interacting, but we weren't. The stories. I don't think there's any way to connect them.
We were trying to explore the possibility of like at least making them in the same universe.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I don't think like logically we could connect the two.
Yeah, there are a lot of like plot holes that would have to be explained if the universes were connected, and even more so like my own personal universe. I was having a hard time, connecting Blade Titans to that, because it just didn't. It's hard to have like giant mechas exist with, like extra dimensional beings that are supposed to protect the Earth. It's like, what were y'all doing that whole time when the Titans were roaming
Percy, where were you?
Yeah, Percy, where were you at? Like, you could have taken out a Titan with a GodPunch. That'd have been it,
This is true.
So,
Mecha GodPunch. That sounds dope, actually.
Mecha GodPunch. That sounds dope.
The Shining Gundam sounds weird.
Don't give him any more ideas.
Just say that has a good ring to it. Mecha GodPunch.
You can pay homage to the Shining Gundam and be perfect. Is all I'm saying. Just give it a do-rag and it's all good.
I'm thinking Generator Rex right now, honestly.
Generator Rex.
Yeah.
But you didn't answer the question about the kaijus, or you was ignoring that.
So the kaiju. Yeah. So there, as far as I've written, there are no kaiju. The Titans themselves are. This isn't a spoiler. The Titans themselves are not from Earth. They're like a ancient technology
from space alien.
Well, okay, so I haven't written that far yet. So I haven't decided if it's going to be like an extra dimensional thing. I think I kind of was getting some of that when the last time I talked to Patrick about like what happened to certain characters in the storyline, and like I think they met some of the beings or something like that who created the Titans. I think so. As far as so we can't get too deep into it, but there was like a race of beings that created the Titans. They're like technophiles, they basically were like, we have to create the ultimate technology type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Titans are the ultimate technology. But if I talk about what happened to the beings after they created the technology, that would spoil some story elements. So I'm
Of
not
course,
gonna go
yeah,
into
of course,
Okay.
it's fine then. Yeah.
I was
Well,
gonna ask. Well, go ahead.
No, me, I'm good with questions. So if anybody else want to go and ask Yen, go ahead.
So I was gonna ask, for the U.S. inspiration, and we know there was like a lot of mecha TV shows in the U.S. Would you use those kind of ideas to represent within the U.S.? Like there was Transformers, Symbiotic Titans, Voltron. Would you use like everybody's? Would you do research onto every country's like their own mecha TV show? Maybe have it their own incorporation within Blade Titan.
I guess I haven't gotten too deep into it. So like the
Oh, okay.
story is in the kind of like early stages, you know. There's
Mhm.
not
Still
a
kinda fleshing
whole
everything
lot.
out.
Yeah, we're still fleshing it out. I mean, like me and Patrick just wrote. We've only written the first chapter. Now I have written a lot of background stuff. Like I've just pulled up the notes so I can look at what I can and cannot talk about. But we have talked about like doing some, you know, each of the fighter titans, at least for each country, you know, like that have Titan technology, are going to kind of be like based on something from that region, you know. So like
Some folklore from each region.
yeah, some like folklore or, you know, I don't know, I don't want to say like pop culture, but just like something, whatever's really popular in that culture, that
Urban legends or
urban legends or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, that's a good way to describe it. So like stuff like that. So yeah, so let's see, what can I talk about without spoiling anything? Okay, so like since we're talking about the West, there's a corporation in the West called Elderon, and they're basically like the Western version of the corporation in Japan. The corporation, they're not related, you know, they're competitors. But Japan has Fujiwara, which is named after the Fujiwara clan, and they're a in-ready production technology company, who are responsible for the first. And this is stuff that's in the first chapter that won't. It's not really spoiler. It's background stuff. They're responsible for finding the first like Titan, I guess, in Japan. And yeah, so Elderon is the one in the West. They're direct competitors, and they have their own Titan technology and stuff, based off of what they found. And yeah, it's hard.
you don't have to say anymore. It's gonna be
You're
spoilers.
good.
Can't really talk about much. Yeah, I'm scrolling through the notes right now.
I'm personally gonna withhold from asking questions because then it'll get dangerous.
Yeah, like actually.
So,
Yeah.
All right, James, you got any questions?
I was also going to say I don't have any questions because I know I'm going to get super analytical. And
Exactly.
I want chat to. Get
I
want to
be surprised. Exactly. You know, I'm gonna take my time.
Okay, so at least here's one other thing I can talk about that's not story related, but I was talking about influences for the series. So we had Old Noah Zero, we have Zoids, Gundam, obviously, Kuro Makuro. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's on Netflix. It's actually really good.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got like aliens and like mechs that. In fact, it's funny. There's a story element in Kuro Makuro about the mechs like existing back in like feudal times.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
Okay.
Then everybody knows Eureka 7, right? I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Gurren Lagann, Broken Blade. So I pulled and then I pulled up this old one. It's called Line Barrels of Iron.
I've actually.
I've heard of it, but have not seen it.
I started watching it because it was like, you know, highly rated. I was looking for new mecha series to watch to kind of get some more inspiration. And
dang, you just took me way back.
I've heard of it, but haven't seen it yet. Wow.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So I haven't gotten deep into it, but it's pretty cool. I like it. And I watched Heroic Age. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Has anybody seen that? Okay, that's on. I don't know if that one's on Netflix. I feel like I watched it on Netflix, but it might not be on there anymore. And All You Need Is Kill is not really a mecha series. It's that's what Edge of Tomorrow was based off of.
Yeah.
Doesn't
that count technically?
What?
Because it's technically it's technically a mech suit, right?
But
it's like an exosuit.
So that's what I would consider exosuits separate from mecha.
That's true. That's
because
true.
I don't really put them in the same genre.
Because Iron Man's not a mech, right?
Yeah. Because Iron Man's not. Yeah, it's like an exosuit.
It's really an exosuit. He has some suits that technically could be.
He does. Iron Man does have mechs. Let's be real. He's got mechs.
Yeah, and that's his Hulkbuster. His Hulkbuster's a mech.
That's
technically
yes.
It's a baby mech. Yes.
It's a baby mech, but still a mech. So you kind of.
Yeah, Tony. What the hell? You could have built a whole ass Gundam. What's wrong? They got anime and Marvel. I know that.
Then Rachel's like, damn, I should connect the dots.
But T'Challa built one, so I ain't mad. It's all good.
Yen, so there's two questions. Okay. Was there a inspiration from the Pacific Rim movies?
A little bit.
Ooh.
Not necessarily with the whole kaiju thing, but more so I was looking up how big I want my mechs to be, kind of comparing the size of different mechs from different series. Mm-hmm. What would be considered quote unquote feasible. So if you really dug deep into the physics and stuff behind the Pacific Rim movies, they're highly unrealistic.
No, of course not.
In terms of
of course not.
The G's that are that are created when a single Jaeger swings his fist.
Right.
Half of that city is gone. So I was like, okay, we're not making the Titans that big.
I mean, now, if you really, I love Pacific Rim. Don't get me wrong, I love Pacific Rim, but there's a lot of that
of logic not there.
Yeah, there's a lot of logic that does not make sense in Pacific Rim, but that's okay.
For those things to move, it would take, I think, at least 25 full-size adults to make it one leg move.
Yeah,
in terms of brain connectivity. So.
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody did the how much it would cost to build one, and it was $75 million or something like that.
I thought they had to make up a number because it was these would cost ridiculous. So much money, especially one that has a nuclear reactor contained within its chest.
yeah. So yeah, there's there's a little bit of inspiration there, just in terms of more so design. I think I really like the kind of variation in all the Jaeger designs. And I didn't want all the Titans to look the same because they are elemental based for the most part. They all have a specific. They're not necessarily elements because there's more than just 4. So they all have a specific, I guess,
like a Pokemon element kind of thing.
I guess, or an affinity to a specific thing, one may control gravity or one may control earth or stuff like that. Yeah, we're not going to get deep. I'm just saying, for example.
Just think like that.
He was going there.
You were doing so well.
I'm not about to get deep. So like I said, they all have a specific, that controls a specific aspect of something,
All right.
You better than me though. See, this is why I can't talk about nothing, because then I would just talk about it. See,
it's hard. I was getting Pat can tell you, I was getting
really well.
You're doing well. That's why I literally can't talk about nothing.
This question, I don't know if you want to ask it. This was a very detailed asked question. Okay. Any lore or historical events or people that have influenced characters, arcs you can speak on?
They're asking if one of us is in the manga.
Oh, no. I'm guessing people or your life, I assume, or influence characters or real life events in your personal life, or maybe your girlfriend.
Okay, well, I haven't put my girlfriend in the manga yet, but I mean, obviously she's gonna be in there. I just,
this is a recorded show, sir. This is on the internet forever. Just you know.
Oh yeah, well, I can't back down now. I can't back down now.
It's too late.
So, clearly, I do like to put I have real life references for a lot of character designs and stuff. All of my, clothing designs and stuff, I take inspiration from actual fashion from now. I have, if I want a specific look for a person, I don't go look for an anime character off the bat. I'll go look for somebody that I can think of off the top of my head, like in Google searches, like an actual person, and start to design the character around that. So I don't think I have a specific person necessarily or people that I guess inspired specific characters, but I mean, there are some historical elements to Blade Titans, like I was saying. I mean, historical elements that have been bent crazy with mech fiction and stuff. So, like with the whole swordsmiths in Japan thing, that's a historical reference. A lot of the lore behind like what happened to specific swords and stuff in the series, because there are multiple swords by the same swordsmith. Like what happened to all those swords? I went and did research on the specific swords that swordsmith made, and was like, okay, this one disappeared during World War II. This one, when Japan had to hand over all of its weapons, including swords, a lot of those swords were lost in history. So some of those plot points for the story are based off of actual historical events.
Some anime protagonist is gonna find one. Don't worry, it's fine.
Yo,
well, clearly,
props.
Yeah.
I just gotta say props of how you're handling these questions and how you think and you word your answers, because I just see Pat's eyes and just Pat be like, just dread lightly. Be careful what you say. He's like, wait.
Yeah, he's trying to make sure I don't get in the spoiler territory. But I have the notes up. I have the notes up, so I know what I can and cannot talk about. Yeah, like I said, there's most of this I can't talk about.
And that's totally fine. That's why
It's okay.
That's why I ask these questions. And I say, if you choose to answer, up to you. I'm just asking what the viewers say and everything, and it's up to you to answer.
I try to give you at least something. I don't want to just be like, I can't answer that at all. Let me just, even if it's just this much of an answer to that question, I at least
of course.
Which we very much appreciate, but we don't want you giving too much away. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to come back and when it's out and tell us more about it then. You know what I'm saying? So
this is why I didn't want to say anything. Like all of my questions are deep cuts. Like, ooh, I want to know what alloy the swords are made out of. It's
oh, okay. Well,
it is also like, well, how many different planets are we talking? Are we talking about different planes of existence? That these.
I 100%
agree. Stop.
I agree with what Ray just because I want to know, is there how many planets, how many stars, is there a galaxy?
Okay.
I'm like, I must not.
Of course, there's a galaxy.
So I will explain
but like how many?
Some of that stuff without getting into spoilers. Okay, so this does take place in a like on Earth. There's a historical timeline to everything, just with some mechs sprinkled in there. This takes place 300 years in the future from today, so it's based on what would happen 300 years from now. I have to guess, but like I said, I went off of some statistics based on like overpopulation and stuff, on how the population of Earth will progress by that time period. And as far as what alloy the sword's made of, well, they're regular swords for the most part. But if I get into, well, okay, I kind of already talked about this in the Blanime podcast. Could I literally just say it again? Would it be spoiler? Would it be spoiler?
Go ahead.
Okay.
It's like,
At least I have the notes up, so I won't like get into stuff that I probably shouldn't talk about. Okay. So one of these main swordsmiths is Masamune. We already talked about that, right? So, excuse me. So he is technically the first person to find a mecha in the historical timeline of this series. It was buried in like a cave in the Japanese mountains back during his time period. So he finds the mech, right? And he's like, oh my God, what is this? And he's just kind of like trying to figure out how it works, because clearly it's somewhat humanoid looking, and he makes his way into the cockpit. There's an activation slot that is got like a really skinny shape, and so he's like, I wonder if I can turn this on by inserting something in this hole, because clearly, it's like there's something missing here type thing. So he's a swordsmith, obviously. So he goes and he's like, all right, I got some swords. Let me go put this in here and see what happens. Nothing happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there are some pieces of the mecha that are just kind of like strewn about. And he takes some of those pieces, melts them down, and combines them with his sword smithing techniques to create new swords, right? So he puts one of those in there after he creates the sword, and it works because it's got the same alloy as the Titan, right? And then he just kind of like has a realization after all this, is like, okay, this technology is way too advanced for humanity. I'm gonna leave this alone. We're gonna barricade this cave back up like no one ever found it. And so he dies, right? 200 years later, his rival, the people call this person his rival because they're not really rivals. It's 200 years apart. They can't be rivals, right? But it's mythology. It's technically like his, yeah. So Muramasa is another renowned swordsmith who came 200 years later and was like, okay, well, I'm going to try and make swords just as good as Masamune, right? But there's and so I based some of this off of mythology. So there was an ancient myth about Masamune and Muramasa, if they were born in the same time period, which they were not, but they had like a competition essentially to see whose swords were the best, right? And Masamune puts his sword in the stream, right? And it cuts everything except the fish that swim in the stream. Muramasa puts his sword in the stream and it cuts everything, including the fish. And so Muramasa thinks he wins, right? Because my sword cuts everything. But I think a scholar or something like that, or a philosopher walks by and sees it and is like, no, Masamune wins because his swords have the nuance to, choose which things to cut. Your sword just cuts everything with no discretion, And so Muramasa was mad, and he's like, so all of his swords are said to be cursed, and they have like a bloodlust to them. We're not going to get into what happens when you use a Muramasa sword versus a Masamune sword, because that's a plot point that we can't get into.
Please don't give that away, because
I
want to read that shit so bad.
But that's okay. So that answers your question. What the swords are made of, and those are the two primary swordsmiths in the series. Like all of the Titans, because none of them, no one has ever found, as far as I know, I'm saying that like I wrote the series, but as far as I've written, no one has found a original activation key for a Titan. So their only hope is to use Masamune's swords. The problem is, because it's 300 years in the future, not many people can tell the difference between a Muramasa and a Masamune sword anymore. So there will be some story elements that come out of that, like what would happen. Oh, we accidentally used this sword instead of this sword, type thing. So, yeah, that's about all I can say on that. Now, as far as the planets and all that kind of stuff, so these beings come from another dimension. They're not from our plane of existence.
Okay.
And I haven't really gotten too deep into their backstory of like why they came to Earth or any of that kind of stuff. But yeah, they're from a different dimension. That's all I can tell you.
That was amazing. Thank you so much for that.
I'm excited
because I like deep cut stuff like that, man. Like what the world is comprised of, like what the weapons are made of, like how it all connects, how it all works together. Like that's the kind of stuff I can't wait to read. So I'm super excited. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
And when do you plan to release the first chapter?
Blade Titans. Well, okay. So since we're trying to finish GodPunch by tomorrow, I do kind of want a little bit of maybe a couple of days break. Before I start going back into inking. I have 38 pages to ink for Blade Titans because I didn't get super deep into it, and it's long. So it's also way more detailed than God Punch in terms of like, you know, it's futuristic city. You got to draw buildings everywhere. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Of course.
So it takes a little bit longer per page. But I'm as far as where we're at right now, we're about the middle of the month of February. I'm guessing sometime in March.
Soon, okay.
Probably like mid-March or something like that. I'm just spitballing, but that's based off of how fast I think I can get pages done. I think probably like mid-March, towards the end of March or something like that. So
Can't wait. Will we have like sneak peeks or like some previews of how our main character will look like?
So Mirai has been shown a little bit. I mean, I posted, so she appears in the prologue that we posted on Twitter. I have a chapter. No, I have. Is it the hard copy cover? Was it the hard copy cover, Patrick, that I did? I think I haven't done the chapter cover yet.
No,
Right.
the only thing you did was the hard copy and the logo.
Right. So I've only done the logo and the the hard copy cover, because we will have hard copies for that, like we do for God Punch. But I still have to draw the chapter cover. I know what it's going to look like, but I just haven't done it yet. Yeah. Hey, got the God Punch chapters up.
Right here on my desk. I mean, right here on my cabin. But I remember you guys talking about it, I think a couple months ago or last year, that you guys, your goal is to have one chapter about God Punch, next month one chapter on Titans. Is that still the plan? Like, like to switch your alternative each month? Is that still the goal?
For the most part, yeah. So we are hiring an assistant to help me with God Punch.
Okay.
We were supposed to hire them by the end of this month, right, Patrick?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're gonna hire them by the end of this month.
He's awesome, by the way.
Yeah, he's pretty great. Found him on Upwork. So
Cool.
yeah, really excited about that, because that'll just mean that work will be done simultaneously, because he's mostly going to be doing background work
Nice.
on Blade Titans, or not Blade Titans, God Punch, so that I don't have to. I can get through pages a lot quicker. So before we were talking about doing a chapter a month for each and just kind of like switching off. That was before we were going to hire an assistant. So now that we have an assistant, I'm kind of somewhat assuming that God Punch chapters will come out a lot quicker than Blade Titans chapters.
Ooh.
We'll probably have like, and don't quote me on this, right? But as far as I'm thinking about like how fast I'll be able to work with an assistant, you know, like even if I'm sketching pages and I can give him pages to work on while I'm still, drawing the rest of the chapter. I can probably get done with a chapter within like 3 or 4 weeks, maybe less. It just depends on how fast we're working together, So it's probably more like, I told Patrick we could get to the point where we have a chapter out every 2.5 weeks,
Oh, that's beautiful.
That'd be dope.
At least
We're gonna get
of
some more
God
systems,
Punch.
though.
Of God
Yeah.
Punch. Yeah. So, and then Blade Titans, after this first chapter, which is super long, intro chapter, every chapter after that is going to be around the same length as a normal chapter, about 20 pages.
Mhm.
So we are going to try and like alternate, but I think we'll definitely have more God Punch content out than Blade Titans.
Of course, makes sense.
For a while, just because Blade Titans takes longer to do. But we are going to try and get a volume of God Punch done by November, right?
We said November.
Yeah, so we want a full God Punch volume out by November, and so we want to at least have a chapter of God Punch done every month,
Mm-hmm.
and Blade Titans will just kind of be inserted in between. But we want to make that deadline, so that means that we may have 2 God Punch chapters back to back, and then a Blade Titans chapter. Kind of prioritizing God Punch, and just working on Blade Titans as we do it. Because the big difference between Blade Titans and God Punch is, besides the fact that Blade Titans is more detailed overall, we have to write the chapters. Like we have no chapters written of Blade Titans except for the first chapter. We're going to write the second chapter pretty soon, so that's kind of a as we're going along type thing. Versus GodPunch already has a bunch of chapters ready for me to just illustrate. So,
what number chapter are we on now, Pat, for GodPunch?
I've written, it's like 55, 56.
Oh, that's a really big number. That's a very big number.
Yeah, I haven't written it.
Yeah, because last time I think you was on, I think you said he was on 37 or 35.
Yeah, I haven't
on.
written since like September, I want to say. And like I said, that's around the time when I started mostly focusing on like the business aspect.
Yeah, man, it's been 15 years. I told you, it's been a while.
Been 15 years, yeah.
But I'm wondering if you guys would like incorporate 2020's history into your story.
The whole pandemic.
2020 didn't happen, if you ask me, so it's all good.
Right. So I love this. I love this question in chat from Otis. What is your thought process when it comes to planning out fight scenes? That's something that I've been really fascinated about. With like, what is your process for like mapping out a fight scene for panels? Like, what is that process like for you guys?
Patrick, you go into how you write, and then I'll go into how I translate that into.
Okay.
Art. Yeah.
So I guess for me, when I'm planning out a fight scene, the most important thing is I gotta ask myself, okay, why are they fighting? You know, why are we doing this? And then I really like to show off. I know for when I'm writing person, I like to show off his skill. I've always had a love for martial arts and hand-to-hand combat. And so I always love those guys that like to just throw hands, you know? Like, I could watch Rock Lee fight all day. Like, that's just something I love to do. And so whenever I'm coming up with a great fight scene, I'm thinking to myself, okay, how can I display, you know, someone's agility? You know, how can, you know, I display their athleticism or their hand-to-hand combat, you know, or the animal, which is the power system that I've created. You know, how can I, you know, incorporate that to where, you know, it'll be an exciting fight, and I just kind of put it on paper, and then after that, I just leave it to the end day. I just try and describe it as best I can, you know, so he can have something to work with.
One question I was going to answer that is, with the fight scenes for you to try to envision it, what type of series do you get inspired by? Like One Piece, JJK, anything Marvel, DC? Like, what do you get inspired in the way they fight?
Honestly, I wouldn't say that I have a certain inspiration for fighting styles. Everything I just kind of think of, because I mean, I'll see, you know, a fight from like Naruto or One Piece or Bleach. I'm like, you know, that's dope, but you know, it would have been cool if they did that. Well, you know what? I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it how I want to with GodPunch. And so whenever it comes to my fight scenes in particular, like everything I create is just, you know, off the top of my head.
Okay. So like, does that include the fight choreography in itself too?
Yes.
Punch bounce. All right. Really cool. Very cool.
Yeah. I could draw different ways for people to get their ass kicked all day. You know. So like that's not a problem.
Do you have any fights of 2020 that was your favorite in anime, in JJK that happened last year? Got a high school. Like, was there any fights that you liked that you seen?
So as far as anime is related, definitely JJK, Gojo versus Jogo. That was my favorite one.
Great one. Yeah.
Yeah, I just caught up with. I reread Jujutsu Kaisen.
Funny how Crunchyroll doesn't agree, but whatever.
Oh, that's
right. God of High School has some dope webtoon fights though, so I really enjoy the fights in the God of High School webtoon. But just off the top of my head, that Jogo versus Gojo fight, probably my favorite of 2020.
Oh yeah, that's this year, because I like the fight that happened with Toto that happened like 3 weeks ago.
That was
with Megumi?
That was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no. I'm like, hold up. Yeah, and I'm like, hold up. That was 2 weeks ago. I'm like, that's technically this year. So I'm like, but damn, that fight was so good. And that romance of both of them, I just cut up to the.
Yes.
Yeah,
the best part hasn't even happened yet, bro.
I know.
Anime.
I know, but
Toto is my spirit animal.
Oh, he's
Toto's
amazing.
a great character.
He's a great character.
Like, bro, like y'all know me. The first thing he said when he came onto the scene was, "What type of woman do you like?"
And I was like, yeah, that sounds like Pat. You right.
Even though they said Jennifer Lawrence in the manga, I'm still like, what? Like,
Well,
I mean,
I'm like, so exactly. That's what I'm saying to them. Like they have a whole different. We talked about this. Cultural differences.
yeah, the
So
cultural
I'm like,
difference, yeah.
Like,
But
give me a tall woman with a fat ass like Meg Thee Stallion.
at least you honest, Pat. At least you honest and you blunt.
Brother, it's the liquor talking at this point. I told y'all it's my birthday.
That is a fact. It is. It's technically the 12th somewhere. It technically the Japan right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that is.
right.
But total, I just cut up to the anime episode 17. Episode 18 is gonna air in 12 hours or so.
How far did you read into JJK, by the way?
Who, me?
No, Vash.
Oh, I read up to chapter 12 or 15. Right now, I'm cut with the anime. So the anime right now is up to chapter 45. So technically, I'm right now in chapter 45. If you want to put it in
Is
that
it really?
sense. Yeah.
It's already up to.
I think they're putting like 3 chapters per episode.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're in volume.
About 3 chapters.
They're in volume 5 or 6 is what last time me and Sam checked last week. So,
So
yeah.
this upcoming episode should be
This ep-
Flash.
No, this
No, not
episode.
yet.
This episode's the one that's coming up is with the guy that don't speak. No.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, you're right. With the curse,
they got Hanami going
curse
on.
speech user.
Yeah.
So 2 more episodes, we should get Black Flash, I think. Hoo-wee.
That was gonna be animated beautifully.
I'm ready for that.
Look, I've been waiting on that since I first saw it. I was like, now this is the moment I need to see animated immediately.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But just because of this past episode of last week, episode 17, I just want to see more of these characters. And they're written so well with a flashback so quick, but so good that gets you very invested and plus emotional into the characters where it doesn't feel rushed. Like as much as I love my One Piece, my Naruto and everything, but they drag those flashbacks sometimes. They be like having those whole emotional scenes in there. I'm like, yo, I get it, but like
What I like to tell people now is that is an
old type of style. Yeah, it's old style.
Yeah. Like
And-
we're getting to a point now where these newer
Evolve.
mangakas are getting into it, and they want to tell the stories differently. They don't want to be like those folks. They take inspiration from those folks, and they tell the stories differently. And you can see it now, and I love it. It's so good, especially in JJK. Like, 'cause JJK, I feel like it's to me like it's a very modern showing, which is really good.
My first storyline is in episode 17 is about the twins. Like knowing the twins is one had the power to
Like Maki and May.
It's like they both had the possibility to be servants in the family, but Maki did not want to do that. She wanted to do more than that, and I'm like, that's beautiful. Like she said, like I wanted to succeed, and mine was like
they do you early on. They do you dirty early on about the heavenly packs. Like
Yes.
they brush over there like, oh yeah, heavenly pack, and you don't know how big a deal it is until later on.
Right.
Yeah, because mine was like, I didn't want to be why did you leave me, sis? Like, why can't you be beside me? And she said, like, I did not want to be where I was. I was not happy. I'm like, that's so true to anybody who could relate to being in somewhere they were never really happy and they had to move on and leave their brothers or sisters, their family, just because they were not happy themselves. And that's such a beautiful type of message, but so quick, but so short, but it's impactful, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, Maki's one of my favorite characters, no cap. Like straight.
This is a Maki standing count.
She's powerful.
I mean, not just like I love Maki. Maki's so damn good. She's so damn good.
I love Maki.
It is such an entertaining, like me right now, anime watcher only, but I will be soon turning to manga as well.
I've been telling you for the past 20 years
Bro, this is
to
a
read
wild
the
ride.
damn manga.
Stop adding more years.
Ray,
It feels too long.
Wait till you get to Shibuya.
Oh, he gonna lose his shit.
He don't know what
Watch.
to do.
He don't know what. I can't wait to see the.
I am
message get.
mad. I got spoiled by a couple things in Shibuya about some characters.
Oh,
2 things. About.
Don't say
but-
nothing. Don't
I know.
say nothing.
I know.
because other people ain't
I
seen
don't
it.
know anything. Don't say
So
anything.
don't say nothing.
No,
Don't
I
say
know.
Nothing.
I know. I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm mad about 2 things. I go to Pat and Ray later, but I'm mad. I was like, damn, y'all manga
James,
really fucking shit up.
wildest thing
James,
that
I
happened
keep-
during that arc.
I keep telling you, James, you gonna fall in love with JJK.
I know that's why I want the anime to like the first season to be done so I can just binge the whole thing because I know I'm gonna love it.
But just binge it. There's 17 episodes already.
I feel like
I want it to be done.
So I want to say that I feel like there's enough for you right now.
Yes,
that you're
there's
going
enough.
To watch it. You're gonna watch. I think you'll get to like the first 10, and you'll be like, I'm gonna read it. And
Yes, you are. James, knowing you'll be like, damn, I should watch all 10 and then just read accidentally.
What happened to me is like I started reading it, and then I was like, okay, cool. And then the anime started. The anime made me want to pick it up again, and so I picked it up again and caught up because it's really well done.
Yeah, because you guys know me. Like I obsess over everything. No, I watch.
I haven't read it yet.
Wait, you have not read the prequel?
Yeah, why would I read the prequel yet?
It's amazing.
You have to read the prequel. You have to read the prequel.
I know, because I know it clears up some stuff about some certain characters.
Because Ray, that prequel clears up what happened 2 weeks ago with a certain character coming back.
I know.
Read it. It's just 4 chapters, and it's officially on Shonen Jump now.
What did
it's on Shonen Jump.
You already said too much. Stop talking.
I just think it's good.
You can't never just talk about something and not spoil it. God damn.
Hey, I'm sorry that I'm not like Yen and Pab just be watching him the whole time. Be like, boy, I'm watching you.
One day I would just need to sit next to you and just every time you say something.
That's why I'd rather have Sam as my bodyguard. Because
hell no, I ain't your warden, and I'm not your bodyguard to tick watch you from fucking spoilers.
I'm an older brother. I'll be easy, man. What you say?
Yeah, because I know Ray will smack me right for the camera. He'd be like, Ray will be like, literally, boy, shut the fuck up. You're on camera. You're on camera.
I would choose violence. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, nah.
But what else you been? So Yen, what you been consuming?
Okay. So I mean, obviously, I've been watching all the same stuff. Weekly, JJK. I'm actually, I'm collecting the books, so I just bought number 8.
Hey, nice.
Like a week ago, maybe. It took me a few days to actually read it because I've been working so much. But, and I'm only reading the volumes, so I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have a thing where like if I start collecting the books, I will only read the books. Because I started collecting One Punch Man, and then when I started reading it online, I didn't want to buy the books anymore.
So that's that. I also have that problem with certain series. There are certain series I'm like that with, but I think the only exception for me was Chainsaw Man. So yeah.
I mean, I'm the same way with One Punch Man right now. Like I'm up to volume 11, and I just stopped because I'm reading it on Shonen Jump.
Right. Yeah. Because like when I'm caught up, I'm like, okay, I don't. Number one, I don't have the money to spend on things that I've
already read. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So. That's like how I said,
it had to be real special for me, and so that's why Chainsaw Man is the only one that I'm literally buying the current volumes as it comes out.
Yeah,
and everything else, I'm like, I'm caught up. It's fine.
Right. I have a couple of series that I will eventually get the books for. Like I have the first 7 volumes of Shaman King because I bought those at like a half price books or something like that. Like I got them on sale. They were dirt cheap.
So you're excited for the reboot coming out in 2 months, right?
Oh yeah. Because I used to read Shaman King back when it first came out.
Same.
Same.
And I was a big fan of it. So.
I'm the only one that has not seen Shaman King here.
So I find something very funny about this.
Awesome.
So I have seen and read so many damn manga, but somehow when I was a kid, we just didn't get One Piece, and I don't understand it. I don't get it. I guess I'd have to ask my mom, like, what was that one harder to get or what? Because I got everything else, but didn't get One Piece.
One Piece was harder to come to the West, also because of 4Kids really hurting the popularity with 4Kids and everything. So
because I just remember the libraries just didn't get One Piece. Like none of the libraries got One Piece, and I was like, that's weird. Because if it came to the library, your boy read it. So I read all those manga when they came over here, but I didn't get One Piece.
That first chapter was very graphic for One Piece.
So that probably is why.
Yeah, like
that's weird. It's because Naruto technically has a demon, and for most public schools,
manga didn't start getting into schools until we were in like middle school. I'm talking about back when I was in elementary school. Like I'm way back.
But thing is, like
Naruto, like it had Kurama in it. But in One Piece, somebody got shot in the head in the first
immediately.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Like immediately.
You're right, because thing is, but I say that because when I went to my cousin like 2 years ago or a year ago, and he's like 6, 7, no, he's like 8 years old, let's say, and he brings his manga of Naruto to school, but that but that week when I was over, he was told that he can't bring no more. It's because Naruto has a demon, and he was reading the Hochune exam, but it's because he goes to private school as well. So they teach the Bible and everything like that. So they don't want him to read like. He could read it at home.
Wait.
Yeah.
So they can learn about an actual, an actual demon, but can't learn about a fake one.
I said the same thing. But his professor said.
Next thing you know, like, well, those demons aren't real. I mean, this is also fiction novel, like fiction books too.
So they said that he cannot bring it to school, but he could read at home. And I was like, but you have to do the same to the Bible. You want him to read at home in the school, so it's a difference. But I just stay quiet. Like, hey, I'm just here visiting. I'm not gonna jump into
like, it's a distraction from the stuff in school. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's got a demon in it. Shut up. Y'all talk about demons in the Bible all the time. You talk about going to hell all the time. He taking too long in the bathroom. Shut up. I swear to God.
But I don't want to get too far off because Yin never answered Otis's question about his process.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Yeah. I don't want to stray.
Oh, right. Yeah, we were doing
He
that. Okay.
just brought it up again.
Okay, well, it's funny. Okay, so so Patrick writes all of the fight scenes, like choreography and stuff, and then it's so me and Patrick are gonna start like reading over the scripts together because so the way that Patrick writes, he doesn't necessarily put the right amount of, I guess,
for the details.
He doesn't spread the content out enough. So like sometimes he'll have a really big description, and that's for like maybe one panel or two panels, and it really should be like three or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we end up sometimes adding extra pages, because I'm spreading the content out, so it makes sense in manga format. Because script to manga, it's like if you've got too much content that you can't put in one panel, I'm gonna have to add another panel after that, and in between. Sometimes I'll even if the content is spread out correctly, I'll feel like, okay, well, I need like a small panel, like a transition panel to show that we're switching scenes, like just a street lamp or the sky or something like that. So the number of panels on a page may change, and that's why we end up sometimes with extra pages. So going forward with, like, I think starting with chapter 4, we're going to start reading the scripts together so that we can make sure that the content is spread out ahead of time before I even start drawing, so I don't have to do that myself. So with the fight scenes, most of the time the fight scenes are fine. I don't think I don't really had a problem with the fight scenes. I've probably spread out a few things, like Patrick will get really descriptive with something, and that turns into like 2 panels instead of 1. But I just try to emulate a lot of the artists that I enjoy, learning from or taking techniques from. So like One Punch Man with Murata, and the way that he, draws his fight scenes.
Detailed.
Very detailed.
I would love to ask him, like, how long do those take? And I'm sure he's just like, oh, it took me an hour, bro.
Man, look, he has some videos on YouTube.
Does he?
Not him personally. In fact, you probably shouldn't be watching them, because he did say that he doesn't like re-uploads of when he does lives.
Oh.
Some people have posted them on YouTube, and I've watched them while I was working. And they're like, just raw time lapse of him drawing a page or something like that. And depending on the content, I mean, he can take from start to finish, he'll draw a page, like he'll sketch the whole page out, and then he'll ink the whole page in like, 2 or 3 hours. That's all it takes for one page, from start to finish, all of that detail.
And
and then there's some some extra stuff that he does digitally now, like
but still, bro, that's insane.
Yeah.
But
like
thing is
he's
that
over dinner or something.
that makes sense, because like when you're just a professional that does this as a living, like this is your focus. Because when me and Sam went to the panel about Dr. Stone, I don't even remember how long now. Yeah, but I'm trying to remember how long now. I know, I'm trying to remember, like, 3-4 years ago now. When me and Sam went to the panel about Dr. Stone, of the artist, our boy Boichi, he said that he takes an hour, probably 30 minutes minimum to an hour max. I'm like, but those detail is so fine and shading. And when he said that it's an hour, it's like, what? And then when he said that One Punch Man takes 2 to 3 hours, it's insane of how much the detail is. But for us, it's like, wow, probably takes him 6 hours, 9 hours. No, but for him, it takes him like that.
Yeah, for me, I'm like, that amount of detail like is ridiculous. You know, I'm trying to emulate that, and that's why I feel like some of these pages are taking longer than they did when I was working on previous chapters. I mean, I'm progressing as an artist, so I'm adding new techniques and all that kind of stuff every chapter. And I'm trying to be more detailed and just improve the art as we're working on the series. So, yeah, I mean, Murata is like probably my biggest inspo for doing just fight scenes and stuff in general. Like, I like the way that he draws his effects and all that kind of stuff, and the way that he draws up like the I'm trying to say, the perspectives for his scenes and stuff like that. It's very cinematic, which I love. You know, sometimes when you draw manga, you'll notice that some people, and I actually suffered from this when I first got into manga and just comics in general, is using the same point of view, you know, too often. You know, like forward-facing characters all the time, or side-facing characters, never in betweens, none of that. Any you know, big manga artist like Murata or something like that, it's like you're watching a movie, you know, like the way that events play out. And I try to emulate that. You know, I want I'll even add stuff like on top of what Patrick has already described in the fights. I'll, you know, I see that in my head and I'm like, okay, that needs another panel here to show the transition, like her powering up, you know, instead of it just sounding like or looking like when I say her, I'm talking about Sylvia, because that's most of this chapter is Sylvia. Her using her powers is like, you know, her powering up should probably just be a panel by itself. Then it may be 2 panels, you know, you show the impact, then you show the another perspective of the impact from the whoever she's fighting, their point of view, and then you show the aftermath of said impact, you know. So like, I think of it sequentially, and how I can make it flow nicely, even with chopping the panels up themselves, like drawing the panels and not making them too crowded. You know, I want the eyes to be able to flow through the page nicely. And I think there are still some parts in here that I kind of suffer from trying to stay too close to the script and not add a lot of extra panels. And so I feel like sometimes the flow is not as good as it probably could be. Like if I added a couple more panels or something like that, I may feel like the transition is a little too jarring between 2 panels. Like somebody got punched and then immediately they're in the wall or something like that, you know? Like there's no in-betweens. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more of that. So you may notice that early on in the chapter, but I think afterwards, like towards the latter half of the chapter, I started adding more panels in. This is when I knew like we were gonna have extra pages anyway, and I was like, screw it, we're just keep however many pages it takes. That's just how it's gonna be. Like I want it to look as good as possible, and I want it to flow as well as possible. I don't want
this chapter's gonna be special anyway, though.
It really is. I mean, like it's longer than a normal chapter. It's like 27 pages.
That's beautiful.
So, yeah, it's mostly just hands, like just straight hands. So I've had a lot of fun with this chapter.
Yeah. That was one thing I wanted to do. Like I know with chapter 1 we left off on a big cliffhanger. In chapter 2, when Sylvia came in, it was like, hold on, who's this? Wait, no. And so like with 3, I was like, okay, we want to reward everyone, you know. So like everybody's been wondering like what type of series is GodPunch? Because you know at the end of the first chapter, you know, everybody's like, oh, she just seems like a horror series. Then, you know, the second was like, damn, like Percy getting the shit beat out of him. Like, okay, what's going on? Then, you know, Sylvia pulls up at the end. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
bro, I've
like
been waiting 23 years for the next chapter.
Right. So now with like 3, it's like, okay, like everybody's been asking, like, where's the action? Gotcha.
Yes. Will there be hands thrown? That's 90% of this chapter.
Yeah.
Tax free, some might say. I'm about it.
Indeed.
All right, I'm about it. For real though. God, I'm excited. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, that's all you gotta wait for.
I know. Tomorrow's still a long time away, man. What if I don't wake up tomorrow, bro? Come on now.
Don't say it out on the show either. Like that.
It's completely impossible. Okay, look.
Yeah, the war could end, and we cannot even see God Punch 3. We'd be like, ah, shit, war ended.
So you could just send it to my DMs, right? That's fine.
Well, remember, we still have chapter 3 through 10 script in our email.
Man, I read light novels all the time. It's not the same. Okay,
this is true.
That's a
fact.
I
have a question. For both of you guys. Like, what is, Pat, for you? What is the most difficult part for you in your writing process? And then Yin, for you, like, what is the most difficult part in translating from the script?
For me, the most difficult part in the writing process is making sure that the story flows and it makes sense. So I think a lot of times where like people, they'll come to me like, oh, I want to do a manga and things like that. Well, from a writing perspective, it's like, okay, you got, point A and point D. You got something significant that happens here, and you got something significant that happens here. But those aren't the important parts. It's B and C and how you take the little things and make it connect A and D. So it's just making sure that I don't neglect the small things and, kind of make sure everything makes sense along the way. So once we do get to those big points, like the big points that I have in my timeline, like you get that emotional connection, like you feel it, you're upset about it, you laugh at it, you cry at it, but most importantly, like it makes sense. So that's probably the most challenging part, just making sure that, there's not an ass pull, from A to D, that, B and C are going to kind of connect the dots.
Cool. Thank you for that. Yin?
So your question was what are the difficulties with like translating from?
Yeah, translating from the script to where you have to pretty much translate it into picture form.
Okay, so I think I've probably answered half of that before. So Patrick is really good about being descriptive. So he just lays everything out there. I don't ever really have to ask for any extra details or anything when I'm looking at the script. So it's very easy for me to imagine what is happening in whatever chapter that I'm reading. As far as translating, it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, I only have hiccups like when there's too much description for one panel or something like that, and then I end up cutting that into however many panels. Usually it's only like I only have to cut it in half, put one panel, one in the next panel. Dialogue usually is fine. And Patrick got a lot better from the last couple of chapters in terms of like not having too much dialogue in one panel or a couple of panels, because I do want the artwork to stand out. And, Patrick may get in his Togashi bag a little bit and start writing a lot of dialogue. And I'll be like, you won't be able to see any of the characters if I put all that dialogue in this particular panel. So
background and then just words.
Background and words. So in fact, there are a couple of panels in here in this particular chapter that do that, where it's just background, but it's like, a character is on a monologue or something. So you don't need to see them. They're already talking, right? So that's more of just like a extra transition shot. And anime does that too, they'll just pan across the ground or something like that as a character is talking, that there's a couple of panels like that in manga format. So, but yeah, in terms of just translating in general is not hard. Like I said, just sometimes it's just hiccups in terms of making sure the content flows properly and is spread out and not too condensed. But other than that, it's a pretty straightforward.
Cool. Thank you.
Someone asked in the chat, do you digital or traditional when drawing?
All digital. I cannot afford to be traditional. It's so expensive. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
expensive. And I used to be all traditional. Like I didn't do any digital work. And then for a while, like I even colored my manga with Copics. Like I was working straight traditional format. And then I realized Copics cost about, if just the gray set that I have cost about $75. Then you have to buy paper. Then you buy all the other materials like pens, ink, whiteout. That shit adds up. And then you're just like, okay, well, why don't I just get, and this is a bad representation because now I've upgraded, so I have a Cintiq that costs a bunch of money. But before that, just getting a small digital tablet was not expensive, compared to buying all that other stuff. And you just had to have, all you need is a laptop, that's what I was working on for a while. Was just, I had a basic Wacom Intuos Pro that I got with a student discount while I was in high school, and
Cool.
I had a laptop, and I got the free version of Manga Studio. Actually, no, my friend had a copy of Manga Studio 4 before it turned into Clip Studio, and he gave me a copy, so I started working on that. And
LimeWired it.
not LimeWire. It was. He sent me like a torrent link or something. We don't do that anymore. But that's how I got started, And now I pay for Clip Studio. Now I bought it. I have the full edition or whatever. But that's how I got started. I mean, and then for a while I was still doing traditional, and then I would scan my work in and just add the effects digitally. Before I had like a tablet and stuff. So it's too expensive to do traditional. I don't know, like half of my, actually 90% of my paycheck would go back into supplies after every chapter. As much as I would go through like ink and screen tones and all that kind of stuff. That stuff's just not cheap, especially if you want the real deal and not just getting, low quality stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, the digital age has made things so much better. Like I have my degree in recording arts, and part of that was learning how to record on a tape deck. It's ridiculous, like how much those like tapes cost.
Like, what?
And then if there's a mistake, you have to physically take a razor.
You old, bro.
I am.
I love you, but you old, bro.
You have to physically cut the film and then stitch it together. Now you just get Final Cut. You pay $200, and then you make a mistake. Command Z, and then you just start over.
What's funny that we just spoke about that this past week about that in class, and I'm like, I haven't heard that in years, but that's because that's so old. And then hear James talk about that's what he learned. I'm like, damn, I can tell how when he's like, yeah, I'm turning 31 this year. I'm like, oh, damn, shit, damn.
32, bro.
That's not old, bro.
You just seasoned, brother.
I know Ray said that you're old, but like still, that's not old.
No, well, it's not old, but think of the tech stuff.
You got some miles on you.
It absolutely ages you. Most of these kids don't know what a tape deck is.
That is true.
It's like what they do, like tape on a kick on a little skateboard. No.
But thing is, I don't know, because of film school and everything, but if I didn't go to film school, I probably would have not known that. So I was like, damn, I know what that is. But imagine like some random, person on chat or to watching the video like, oh, what's tape deck? Which is completely normal and which is completely fine, but shows how far technology has come in the past 15, 20 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
because not even, like some people don't even know what a Walkman is. So that wasn't even that long ago.
My cousin,
Honestly,
my cousin don't know what is a VHS, and I have 4 of them. People showed them, oh, look what I found, a cassette. I'm like, what's that? I'm like, you know what's a DVD, right? So before DVDs, there were like these box little things that I used to watch. You're like, oh, really? Like, yes. It was called VHS.
If you're dating someone and they don't know what it is, they're too young for you, man.
Definitely too young.
Definitely. Way definitely for Pat, for sure. That's way underage.
That's for any of us.
We don't play with kids,
That's
bro.
all of us, bro.
That's all of us, bro.
That's
man.
all
yeah.
of us, bro.
Yeah.
I was just saying, we all touching 30 over here.
Well, technically, all 4 out of 6 of us here have a partner. 2 of us here is technically single.
Hey, you ain't even got to go that far. You need to relax.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
You need to relax.
Yo.
Don't put yourself out there like that. Anyway, hey, so I do have a question for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to the craft, I want to know. So what is it? What is it about this specific medium that keeps y'all in
Good
love
question.
with it?
I like that.
That keeps us in love with it.
Yeah, got 'em.
You ever love something so much you do it for free?
Yes.
It's
Technically, right now.
for me, it's kind of like it's a love. It's just a love for the game.
I
You
get
know,
you.
like I always said that I have a story to tell, and I just want to put it out there. And ever since I was younger, I was always kind of charismatic. I was able to kind of exaggerate things. When it came down to storytelling, so it was something that I was kind of always pretty decent in. And
Mm.
so now it's like I just want to get it out there. And even on those days, when I do get sad, and I kind of get discouraged, it's like, we're in pretty deep now. At this point, there's no turning back, And so for me, I just love it. And more than anything in the world, I love watching the end day work and I like seeing it come to life. And so,
Like right now.
yeah, like right now. So
Literally right
I
now.
think Yeah, so I think that's the thing for me, as far as like what keeps me going. The people who hit me who say they're excited about it, the people who say that they've read it, the people who purchase it, the people who randomly tag us and they're wearing the clothing line, so it's things like that. It's definitely more than just me writing. Is really all the people that have supported us, up until this point.
And I mean, I want you to know just before Yin goes, you got all of us that support you 100%. So when you remember them times when you get sad, remember, I don't care what happens, we're here for you. I'm support you in whatever you decide to do because I see that fire, I see that light. You got something you wants to get out there, and I want to make sure it happens. So no,
I
we always
appreciate
got
that,
your
brother,
back,
for
brother.
real.
And plus to add the quick question, either before Yin goes, has it been different because of this pandemic? How you put in more work? Because some people, friends and family, do not believe in people yet until they see proof, progress. Has that changed? The more work you put into it within this past year, the more progress and effort. With chapter 3 finally coming out, like have they actually like, oh, Pat is actually doing something. He's actually proving his worth. He's actually doing a business. Like, oh, he's not just speaking; he's actually doing the walk.
So I think that moment came before the pandemic.
Okay.
When I first told a couple people about it, a lot of people are iffy. They're like, oh, we're gonna support you just because it's something that you like. But it really came to a head when we got to New York. And we were posting pictures. It's like, wait, what are you in New York for? Oh, we're up here to meet with Viz Media. Oh, okay. So y'all for real? Well, yeah, okay. And I think I was very transparent on one podcast. I can't remember which one it was, but I actually told everybody like, bro, we made our first 1,000 from sales, from book sales alone. And this was after I say this was like after shipping and all that stuff. We brought in our first rack, and we were actually able to pay our entire team. And so once we shared that information, people were like, well, y'all got money like that. And I'm like, yeah, like this isn't a game. Like this isn't for it's fun, but we're serious with this. So I think that was the moment right there when we went to New York, and then after we dropped chapter 2, and we made our first band from it. That was when people were like, okay, like they're serious.
Yeah, we made what? 1,700
It was about
copies
1,700 we brought in
in that
That's
one
from
week.
when
beautiful.
we dropped chapter 2.
All right, so it's my turn now, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, yeah, honestly, I kind of had the same feeling as Pat, because before being an illustrator, I'm also a writer as well. So I personally have a ton of stories to tell, and I want my art attached to those stories. I really don't want anybody else to work on my stuff. And I just like storytelling in general. Like, you know, me and Pat are the same. We just love to tell our stories, the ideas that we have, the characters that we've created. We want to see them, you know, become, you know, what the full story that we've already thought of in our head. Like, we want to see that, you know. And I don't know. I've always loved manga and anime and stuff, and I've always loved art. So manga is like my favorite medium to do artwork in. And I've done several other mediums. I mean, I've tried ceramics, I've tried painting. I don't have the patience for painting, and I don't have the patience for ceramics either, because if I mess up on the wheel, that's it. I'm not doing it again. I'm not putting it back together and starting from scratch. Like, I can't do that. So I just really love manga. I think it's a great medium for storytelling, and it fits my style of storytelling. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, I put like a timeline on Twitter of like all the stories that I wanted to get out within a specific time period. And it may be quicker than that when we start hiring other assistants and stuff like that. But that was just based off of where we were at right now on the pacing. But yeah, I have a whole universe of characters, of different storylines that converge. I mean, if like Patrick will tell you, I could talk about Black Lotus, my primary series that I really want to get out. I could talk about that for like a day and a half, you know,
Yes,
like just straight up. Because I wrote I finally wrote the entire backstory or you know, overarching storyline, all the characters, all the power systems, the hierarchies between like the different races of people and stuff, and just powers, and it's ridiculous. So I enjoy doing all that.
Can you share a little bit of what Black Lotus is about?
Yes, actually, Patrick, don't
let me pull up this script because you don't.
Don't let me talk. I know how you will. About this.
Yeah.
Don't let me get too deep because.
I'm pulling it up now. I got you.
Okay, hold on. Let me.
So it kind of feels like Yen is like me, like know how to spoil you and everything, but he needs some control, and Pass is like the one that let me guide you and I get there.
No, you not trying to compare people to you. You just spoil shit just because. Okay? No.
I just be invested. I just be entertained. I just like to talk about it. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
You talk too much. No.
Hey, I think that's part of the job here. I gotta talk.
Yeah, but you can talk about things without spoilers.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Pat, you got the script up? You got the notes up? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So all right.
Yeah, Pat's ready. He's like, "Yep, talk."
So
Wait,
I'll tell
don't
you right
talk.
now. I spent so much time typing this up in my notes app on my phone that I started reaching the character limit for the notes. You will never see that.
Just
you
so
don't
you
even
know
there's
never
a
heard that was possible.
That is a lot.
I was just gonna
words.
say, there's a character limit to notes, bro.
Yes.
Yes.
So
I've written college papers in those, and
I never heard that was possible.
Yeah. So I went through I wrote 6 pages of Google Docs worth of notes. That's how much I wrote in there, and I started seeing like, oh, you're approaching like the character limit. You can only type maybe like 200 more characters or something like that. And I was like, I've never seen that before, but I've been writing a little bit too much. I got a little carried away. So basically Black Lotus is like if my entire universe is like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or something like that, Black Lotus would be like a Captain America, essentially. You know how it's like the introduction to the Avengers and all that kind of stuff? That's basically what this is. Like, you will be introduced to the extended universe through this series. So this series centers around a character whose name is Dion Rayson, and he's a police detective. And his father was also in the police department. So he decided, you know, and his dad was like framed for something, you know, that went wrong. And he was like not seen in a good light anymore, you know, after that. And so he tried to take up his father's mantle and was like, you know, I'm going to get rid of the corruption in my city through being a police officer. And he will learn that does not work. So, and this isn't really spoilers. Well, like this is all stuff that would happen in the first chapter, and it's explained on the back of the book and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I won't go into like I won't go into too deep into spoilers. All right, we've got Patrick looking at me funny.
He boy.
We got the notes up, so I know what I can't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
you know that look, Miguel, because
so
I
the
give it to
main-
you all the time. Yep.
So we're going to start off with how the idea came about, right? So I wanted a character randomly in my head. I was like, what if there was a character who was like, will was so strong he rejected his own death, basically like brought himself back to life. And so I built a kind of story around that idea. It's been, rewritten a couple of times. And so I've found that I could introduce that character into my universe as a specific entity that I needed, So the main character, I told you he's a police detective, and he's trying to like get rid of corruption in his own department first, and then spread it throughout the city, trying to be like, the hero type guy, And so he puts together a plan to try and weed out some corrupted officers. And he thinks he's got a good team, right, of officers, and one of them is on the other, or like I would say the mafia or the syndicates who own the city, who run the city. He's on their payroll, right? So he betrays them during the operation, and they drag him into a warehouse and kill him, essentially, right? Well, said warehouse, which is it's a black market, warehouse that the syndicate owns. It has a bunch of relics and artifacts sitting in crates, similar to like you remember in Indiana Jones when we went to Area 51, they just have crates everywhere of like artifacts, right? That's basically what the warehouse is. I mean, they're selling everything. So he happens to die near an artifact called the King's Kopesh, which houses an entity known as Osiris, who's like basically, he's like the king of the dead. So Osiris is in the artifact, right? And he sees Dion's soul cry out for help as he's dying. And so he saves him because he needs a vessel, right? To come back. We'll explain a little bit more about that later. So he needs a vessel to come back. So he saves Dion's life by merging with his soul and making Dion his vessel. So that process takes like 2 weeks. He's already in the dirt when he comes back to life. So he has to claw his way out of his own grave. This is all the first chapter. He has to claw his way out of his own grave, and he comes back and he's like, "Oh my God, like, how did I come back to life?" And then Osiris begins to talk to him and tell him, like, "I'm Osiris. I was defeated by an entity in my own domain. Somebody took over the afterlife, and they're here on Earth to try and basically take over the Earth. They're damn souls that are trying to take over the Earth. I need your help to regain my throne, essentially, and we'll have to, fight through the souls and everything, and I will train you along with my acolytes." He has acolytes that he's collected throughout history. They're different humans that he's bestowed powers upon, basically, from different time periods. So they're immortal, and he takes Dion to meet with them so that they can train him, and he learns about the enemies that they'll have to face in terms like the souls. They're called the New Prophets. They're a bunch of damn souls that escaped the afterlife, essentially, and they want to take over the Earth by like infiltrating all the world governments and everything, and basically manipulating the world behind the scenes. So that's basically the overarching story for Black Lotus. Dion's character is, like I said, the vessel for Osiris. So eventually, he will get back to the afterlife, and things will happen. We won't get too deep, because Patrick will tell you, we were in the car and I spoke about the arcs for like the whole ride home. Like I could talk about.
You talked about them because we got brunch together,
right?
And you talked about them on the way there, then while we was eating,
yep.
And then on the way back, and I'm like, he's so excited.
This is like my favorite thing to
He
talk
couldn't
about.
even eat his breakfast burrito. He was just, yo, Pat, this is what we're gonna do. I was like, all right, man, chew your food first, baby. I ain't going nowhere. I'm here. I'm right here.
So so let me see. Anything else I can talk about that's not story related and it's just more like story elements. Let's see.
What was you inspired to write about this?
Just that idea that I had. What if a man could reject his own death? Like his will was that strong.
Okay.
And then I needed a character, so I have an entire universe that has like characters known as celestials that are they're guardians that watch over the earth from an alternate dimension, basically. Well, it's more like the primordial dimension. You know, it's like the first. This is where time and space basically started. You know, like this is the realm of the creators and everything. They have like an infinite domain that is constantly expanding. It's like a plane of existence that has no end. So that's where they're from, and there are different races, and the main race is that watches over humanity is called the Guardian race. And it was funny because Patrick also has Guardians in his series, so we were trying to figure out like, could they possibly be like connected? Like, could we connect the story? So we're still working on that, but that might be a possibility in the future.
Definitely.
So I needed a character that was a celestial being who was in charge of souls and like, you know, how when people die, where their souls go, how they get transferred back into the universe and turned into energy and all that kind of stuff. And so I created Osiris as like the main character, and then I needed a vessel for him. I had to create a story, you know, like why is he on Earth? You know, how is our main character going to basically meet him and then eventually introduce us to the extended universe with all these other characters and races and stuff. So that's what his story does. That's basically like it's actually pretty long. Like I think I told Patrick I wanted about 5 to 600 chapters. Yeah, it's a pretty decent length series, like, almost like Bleach. You know, Bleach is a decently long series.
Yeah, Bleach like 696.
Decently long. He says. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, and the reason it's a little longer than it originally was going to be is because I combined 2 series that I had. So Black Lotus was originally just going to be 1 series, and then after that, it was going to be called. There was another series called The Infinite Reality. That's like the next extended universe for that.
So technically, you had Naruto and then Naruto Shippuden. That's what you had.
Basically, yeah, but originally, like, you know how Naruto and Naruto Shippuden are in the same universe, and basically the overarching storyline, like you have the same characters and stuff. The Infinite Reality is way larger in scope than just like a Shippuden. You know, like you'll meet other races, other dimensions and worlds and all kinds of stuff through that series. And I turned that entire series, or at least the first main saga, I guess, for that series, into the second half of what happens after the main Black Lotus saga. So there's like 2 sagas in 1 series.
So from what I've heard from throughout this past 2 hours from you and Pat, I really am enjoying your creative mind of how much that is manga style is created but in webtoon, but it has a lot of comic and pop culture influence, where you guys have spoken about it's not just it's going to be placed in one city or in one place in Japan. It's just like in most comics, in most manga, it's just in one section. It's like My Hero, like, you know, for example, it's just right now currently it's just in Japan, but sooner or later they're gonna go in other countries, in other states that we could just try to predict. But you guys have already have ideas to go to different countries and go to different places already, and that's, to me, is very beautiful, because that's one of my critique when I read those type of comics / manga, is when we just stay in those isolated places and don't explore other countries and other characters that probably have different powers and other different abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love like large scope. You know, like me and Patrick both like world building. Like love world building.
It's beautiful.
So We can't. I don't like having just like an isolated story that takes place in just one place. It's boring to me. I feel like there's only so much you can do with a single area and the characters in that area. I mean, clearly there are plenty of manga out there that do a great job with just isolating their stories in one place, but a lot of the great manga, I would say, have like extended universes. They have like amazing world building where they have other places that they go to. They don't just stay in one area, and that's where the conflict starts and ends. I want a more like universal feel. I always told Patrick I wanted to. When I was younger, I wanted my own like Marvel comics. I wanted a universe that large in scope, with characters and alternate realities and all kinds of stuff. I even have a series that's an alternate universe from Black Lotus that is down the timeline. It's called like Calamity Zero, that deals with an event that happens that doesn't happen in the main timeline, or at least it doesn't happen yet in the main timeline. It like happens too early, so it causes like a
so you already have Earth 2 of technically the version of Injustice
Basically.
in a way. And that's beautiful. Like that got me excited. Like wow, like in a comics type of route type of way, a webtoon. That's exciting.
Yeah. For me, I always want to take people on an adventure. Like
One Piece right
whenever,
there.
yeah. I mean, Oda's my goat.
Yes,
But
sir.
whenever God Punch is finished, I want you to be able to appreciate the journey. And I think the dope part about incorporating like different regions and different areas is that you can kind of, play around with different things and concepts, and kind of like, with One Piece, how, you look at Alabasta where, they're in the desert, or you go to Whole Cake Island and, it's food themed. Or, you go to Fishman Island and everything is underwater, kind of like Atlantis. That's beautiful to me. You can create so many different themes and so many different abilities just based on different regions, and it just makes it so much more challenging to tell the story. But it also just gives you, it also gives you a lot more to work with, you know. And so, and the type of story that I'm trying to tell, I think that it's important, for Percy, to see the world, so he can kind of understand, the people that he's saving, because we're operating, on a massive scale. We're saving all three realms, and so you can't really appreciate him saving the entire world if you ain't seen the entire world.
Yep.
I was just trying to think of how to respond to that because I find that type of mindset is very thought out and processed very well, where you know where you're headed and you know where you want to be, and that's very beautiful because a lot of people don't have the drive or they kind of give up throughout the process because they don't feel like they could do it. But you guys have that great chemistry to push each other, both help each other in your own projects and have your own dual projects together, and that's beautiful.
I mean, and it's more. I love to see. It's like you have a vision, you have a dream, you have these ideas that you want to make reality. You don't just let your dreams be memes. You know what I'm saying? You actually you want to make this happen, and you're doing that. And it wasn't just. It's not just a way of saying, oh, we tried to know. It's like you want to see this happen. It's like, yeah, it's like, oh, we tried. No. We're doing this, and that's the attitude. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people miss that. It's like we live in a time now where we have more access to make our dreams happen than they have ever had ever before 100%. In the history of people. Period. And so now it's like it's all about how much time am I going to put towards it to do it, rather than can I do it? Because you can do it. You just have to actually do it.
Yeah. Man, that just kind of reminds me, like, I want to say it was 2019, and we were preparing to go to New York, and I skipped out on so many things that I wanted to do, just to save money, so we can go out there, so I got spending money or to work on my portfolio. I missed my last family reunion. I skipped my mom's birthday, and I'm like, I gotta chase it. And I felt so bad. I missed my family reunion. I told my grandma, she was like, "We're not going nowhere." She was like, "Go get it," you know. And so the fact that my grandmother was like, "You good? Go get it." Like we standing behind you 100%. I'm like, "All right, fuck it. I'm going to do this shit." And so yeah, like when you getting it out the mud, you're gonna have to miss out on some stuff that you really want to do. But I mean, that's what comes with sacrifice. So I'm willing to sacrifice whatever to get this shit. For us to get this shit.
But you hear what you just said though. You're willing to make sacrifices to get the things that you want.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. There's that. I hate that saying of you can't have your cake and eat it. No. You can have cake and eat it. Mm-hmm. It's just what are you gonna do? What are you gonna give up to make that cake? What are you gonna like? You're making that cake instead of doing something else. You know what I'm saying? So that's the real gist of it.
You guys are really inspiring too, because it's really intimidating to think about creating a whole story and writing it and getting someone to draw it and someone to pick it up and stuff. Like, I constantly dream about post-apocalyptic futures, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like everyone around me keeps telling me I should just write a book or like write a script or something, and it's like sometimes it just gets so intimidating. Like I have ideas in my notes and stuff, but it's just like it's so intimidating to get into that process. But again, you guys are really inspiring that you're doing it, and it inspires me to want to get off my ass and make it happen.
I encourage you, brother. I think for me, one of my biggest driving factors, and I don't know if it's just my ego or what, but I want to be remembered when I leave this earth. Like everybody wants to leave their mark. Like there's no way in hell that my physical body can be immortal, but I can leave a legacy. And I found something that I care about enough that I could leave behind, and people will say my name after I'm gone. Still, those people will say our name. And so I think that's one big driving factor for me. Like I want to be remembered, and I think this is a great way to do so.
I totally understand that very well, from the like in that mindset where I don't want to just pass away and not leave anything for people to remember. Just like, oh, he's a cool dude, cool. He's nice. He's very kind-hearted. But no, like he made a legacy. Correct. Like he made a legacy, and when my kids and my family or my cousin or siblings could know that, oh, I don't have to have a 9-to-5 job. I can also follow my passion. I can also do something with myself, my career, and myself, where I can make some type of vision, a business, a book, like James said, or like you guys are joining our comic. That's very beautiful, because a lot of people don't have that type of mindset, and it's beautiful where a lot of people do, and they go through it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, I know for me, I was intimidated by starting this journey. I come from a family where, they achieve success and money through traditional means. You go to high school, you go to college, or, go from high school straight to working. You get your degree, get your diploma, GED, or whatever, and then you start making your money. And so for me, it was really intimidating, because it's like, yeah, I have 2 degrees, but I want to do something that doesn't have anything to do with either of those. And so, you're taking a chance, going to all these different conventions, and me and the end, they getting chased by security, because we selling GodPunch books out the backpack, giving them the Japanese animators, like you take a risk doing stuff like that. But I don't know. I just feel like at this point, like you're not going to become famous by conventional means. You're not going to become successful. And it's like, what are you willing to risk to get what you want? Legally, of course. But how bad do you want this shit? And that's a question that I pose to every creative that's doubting themselves. How bad do you want it? And so I always tell myself, I'll do anything for GodPunch. And so anytime I get nervous or it's something that I'm hesitating about doing, it's like, you never know who's watching or who's listening to you that might give you an opportunity if when you speak out on your brand. So fuck it, if you get declined, then cool. You live to fight again another day. but we're gonna put on for the brand.
And that's one thing I'm very happy about our chat. Our chat throughout the whole time of the stream and the podcast. They was very happy that we had this type of conversation with you guys as creators, and like they was happy because you guys inspired them to have more content and to write more and to create more. And that's not, as you said, it's not very hard and plus not very easy. It just depends on how you tackle it. And this was very, very helpful and plus very inspirational for a lot of our chat.
Yep. I mean, we try to be transparent whenever we come on, man. Like I try not to pull any punches. You know, I'll answer just about anything that you want to know. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You know, like you just got to go and get it. You know,
I love you for that, for real. Like I really do. It's like, you know, you just, y'all are just y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you know there ain't no secret sauce. You know what I'm saying? It's just
there's no secret sauce. There's no Mike's secret stuff. Like, there's no Patty secret formula, bro. It's like these I share them, man.
Because trust me, if that was the case, Samurai would still be in Shonen Jump.
Yeah, absolutely correct, brother. Yeah,
I'm happy. Damn.
Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it.
Hey, it sucks to stay. It sucks to stay, but I'm happy to take Undead Unlock and Mashle over Samurai. I'm happy to say that.
I'm not, but whatever.
Yeah, Pat, have you been reading Undead Unlock or Mashle? Do you know
I'm
them?
behind on Mashle. I've been reading Mashle though, and oh god, I love it. I love it.
I do not have time to read manga, so
understandable.
Only thing I've been able to keep up with is
you can read One Punch Man.
And yeah, well, and One Punch Man. I mean,
that last chapter was fucking wild, bro.
Yeah, One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Blast.
It's so random. I was just like, excuse me.
Yeah. I'm trying to get him to hurry up and catch up to JJK. But
on that Back to the Future bullshit. Come on now, bro. All right.
Yeah, I'm actually guessing it. So his powers blast to the past kind of thing.
I doubt that, but
he's the number one hero. He gotta have some hands.
Exactly.
And
what's his name? What's Flashy Flash? I trust this man, and he was like, he put his hand on his shoulder. He came by. He said, "Calm down, son.
Calm down, young man."
He's like, "Listen here, young buck. You don't want to die today." God is so good.
And Pat, you reading Undead Unlock or no?
I'm reading Mashle. I haven't gotten Undead Unlock. I was reading. I'm behind on Kaiju number 8.
Oh, you should.
Yeah, because me, you, and Sam. I remember I talked to somebody. I talked to you about it. I'm behind on Kaiju number 8. You know I'm gonna keep up with my One Piece. What else have I been reading?
How have you been enjoying One Piece? Because I hear mixed people on Twitter, you know, with the Kaido stuff, with Act 4 and everything. I hear a lot of mixed reviews. Like, me and Sam are like around chapter 970. So it's like, not because we don't want to rush, try to catch up, but because we want to let it build up. But like, from you being a big One Piece fan, but not being a content creator on the One Piece YouTube side and everything, but as a fan itself, but also as a critic, as you being like a writer, how do you see the last Wano arc? How do you see it so far?
It was perfectly built up to. You know, Oda likes to make us wait for the big ones, and we've been waiting on Wano for a couple of years.
Many years,
specifically like the Kaido and Luffy fight. So they're currently fighting right now, and it's beautiful. I don't know. It's like I'm at the edge of my seat, you know, waiting on every chapter. Like, I thoroughly enjoy it as a fan, and you know, even from a writing perspective, you know, like it makes sense. Like, Oda does a good job of making you draw your own theories and then proving you wrong, you know? So it's like, I'm excited. I don't know what's going to happen next, but like, I really am enjoying this ride. As soon as the fight is over, I'm probably going to start all the way over from Wano and read it all the way back.
Okay. But I hope you do read Undead Unlock. You enjoy the story very much. The story is very
I want to
condensed.
read Undead Unlooked and Chainsaw Man. A lot of my
You
boys
ever
been
Chainsaw
telling me,
Man?
bro.
I haven't either. I haven't been
A lot of
able
my
to
boys been telling me to get on Chainsaw Man and Undead Unlooked. So I
It's-
think, oh yeah, I've been reading Phantom Seer.
Oh,
I've been
Phantom
reading
Seer, the
Okay.
art is so good in Phantom
I
Seer.
love Phantom Seer. I've
Very
been reading Phantom
graphic with the
Seer.
art.
Yeah. So I'm catching up on Phantom. I'm catching up on Phantom Seer. I have to catch up on Mashal and Kaiju number 8, and then after that, I'll probably jump into Chainsaw Man and then Undead Unlocked.
I highly recommend Chainsaw Man. Okay,
You like
Chainsaw Man
Man?
is Chainsaw Man is just so different from everything else.
Yeah.
Like it's just like if you want to break from literally everything else, Chainsaw Man it's in a niche on its own right now, if you ask me. Especially for a Shonen Jump title. Like it is
Right.
like okay.
Is it getting an anime adaptation? I feel like it.
Yeah.
It did.
It's getting an anime.
But Mappa.
Announced.
It's got
Okay.
announced.
Who'd
We
they
don't
say
know
was-
when, but we got
Who's
announced.
animating it? I think
It's
Mappa.
Mappa.
Yeah, it's Mappa.
It's Mappa, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Which-
because
which will do really well, I think. I think they'll do great.
because
I've been putting the game on their back right now.
because I don't know if you guys know,
Yeah, they
but the thing
basically
is,
carry an anime period on their back.
yeah, because Mappa's taking to do everything. So if you guys want, just ask Mappa, can you guys do God Punch too? Like, hey, if you guys want to do everything, just do God Punch too and do Blade
Don't give
characters.
us the God of High School treatment. Don't do that to us.
Oh, dang, that's...
You gotta make sure. You gotta make sure it's the right
talk about
executive team.
Yeah,
Right.
it's true.
Uh-huh.
And put the right director. So hopefully by the time you're gonna get your anime adaptation, hopefully I'm a director by then, so I could be like, yo, I got you project. I got it in good hands because I got some things cooking right now, and I'm very excited as well. So I can't wait to see what you guys build, and hopefully in a couple of years that anime nice adaptation, so nice trailers and everything you guys could do.
Yeah. We think about it all the time.
Yep. I think in terms of what do we say? In terms of God Punch, we want like either like Bones or
A Madhouse.
Madhouse or
I
or
think
Wit.
we said-
Wit,
Yeah, I think we
Wit's
said
good.
Wit.
Yeah,
Wit or A1.
David Pro's good.
David Pro. Yeah, we did like David
Oh
Pro.
yeah, David Pro is
David
good.
Pro,
They were snapping
Yeah,
in Fire Force, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
they've been
They-
good. Oh,
They,
because
Fire Force
Ogun.
and JoJo's?
Ooh,
Yeah.
I mean, look, the old good stuff was lit, but like the stuff after, bro. Okay, people sleeping on Fire Force this season. I don't understand why.
they did. They did.
I
I
don't.
was one of those
don't
people
get it.
until the end they bullied me into watching it. I binged it. I'm like, oh, shit,
Look.
okay.
Current
As soon as
season
it got
of-
around
current
to, like,
season of Fire
the-
Force,
Yeah, as soon as it got around to the Joker and Benny Maru
yes,
episode,
I love that.
Yes,
it was like this.
it literally
it went up.
it does not have a low at all. It just keeps going.
And it
Yo.
only gets better. This is why I couldn't stop reading the manga.
I can
Like,
understand
it's
that now.
so good.
Like this animation, they just do such a good damn job with this show.
The story is so entertaining with where it could go, like the possibilities, and like showing how the whole religion and the whole structure system of the government is so messed up, and like how it's been so broken, but people are finding out later, and like and plus stuff about Joker and everything, the fight of Benny Maru.
Did you finish the current season, Vash?
Me, I did. Sam, I think it's like 2 episodes behind or 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm behind.
But it's just they get into these weird literal weird nuances about how I never thought that you could get so complicated and nuanced with pyrotechnic abilities.
Yo,
That's true.
But they
They really
managed
do
to
like
just do some
I-
random shit that I was like, I never considered that about like what?
Just
Okay.
anything with like a heat source
Mhm,
is
anything.
considered like pyrotechnics in the
Great,
manga.
but I love it. It's so
So-
good and it's so well done. God,
Yeah.
it's so good. So I'm telling people, stop sleeping. Like, yeah, the stuff with the Tamaki is whack. I'm not gonna lie, it is whack.
Except
But
the second
gets
to last
better.
episode. Except the second to last
what I'm
episode.
saying is, it gets better.
One
I
thing
did
I
like-
love.
Oh, what were we gonna say?
I was gonna say one thing I love about the whole second to last episode is the way they build up Tamaki in that episode, but the way it was directed and filmed from the whole film ratio. I love the transition. It was beautiful, flawless, and it shows the flashback scenes. Like I love it when anime does film ratios and does film type of editing. It's like they showing that how anime could be using a lot of cinematography, and that shows beautiful styles. But yeah,
Oh yeah. Well, and to your point, the director for season 2 is like just killing it for Fire Force. Like
Yes.
his directing ability was insane. I was not expecting that much of a level up from season 1.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the that one episode, the one episode that I actually enjoyed, the Tamaki fan service was with what's his name?
Juggernaut.
Juggernaut. Is that his name?
Yeah, Juggernaut.
Big boy, yeah, Juggernaut.
Wait, what was it? Juggernaut? Or I thought it was the dude.
Sleeve boy.
Oh
no,
the guy.
It's the parody ending where like he goes to fight her to like redeem.
Oh yeah, for good 5 minutes. Oh yeah, for good 5 minutes because he had a weakness against her because of him being sexually aroused.
It was Master Roshi essentially.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
The way that whole scene was directed and like shot with the with the cuts of him in the background.
Yes,
like studying her
just
so that
talking.
he could.
Yes,
yeah.
Thinking to us. Yeah, God, that was hilarious.
He like, I have been training forever. I know how to handle her.
Was that when they went into the underworld for the first
with
time?
it, I think that arc around it, they did like the before, the after,
because that was hilarious. I remember, man, God, that was good.
But also to know the ending, like how they ended season 2 with like just. Trying to see how to word this. The way they ended season 2 with the characters sending them off.
You might as well just not talk. Okay, so it's fine. Anyway, moving right along. So Fire Force is great. Very, very good, obviously. But I mean, I guess I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time unless y'all just want to vibe. You know what I'm saying?
We haven't even talked about Bill yet.
That's what I was gonna ask. That last project that you want to talk about before we go.
Oh my goodness!
Because I know we got the last 2 more topics we need to hand out before we go.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So Bill is a
parody.
It's a parody. It's a gag series. You know. I had yet another random idea. This is just how my brain works. Y'all get used to this.
That's good.
I'd just be up, and honestly, I wasn't even up that late. So it was only like 10. You know, I wasn't peak.
No, I was in the
hours.
bed. It has to be later than that. I was in the bed.
Are you sure?
I'm positive because my mom was
still up, and I went to go talk to her about it.
Because you tweeted, you was like, "I got an idea for a new manga," and I hit you with my all-seeing lurking eye. I hit you with that one right there, and then you called me and you was like, "I got an idea."
Okay, it must be. Maybe it was a little bit later than that.
I'm like, what is it?
But yeah. So I had So my idea was, and I was like, I didn't want to put it on the timeline because I wanted to share it like internally first to make sure that it was actually a good idea and people would understand the joke behind the title. So I was like, okay, Patrick, please tell me if you get this joke, like the whole character's name and everything. So I was like, what if there was a character who's kind of like a Saitama, you know? He's like basically invincible, right? But it's not because he's like, you know, it's not a One Punch Man style story where there's like superheroes and stuff. He's literally just a regular dude, right? But he gets into all these situations and like events where he should die, right? Yeah, he should die. He shouldn't be able to get out of them. And he just does just because. And I was like, okay, so the character, he does that, right? And his name is Bill T. DeFront, right? So if you say his name together, his name is built different. And so like the whole reason that he survives these scenarios is because he's built different.
He's built,
Is he gonna be
right now? That's funny as fuck.
And is he gonna be for breaking? Like, you know, like since you said like it's a gag, so you know it's like Deadpool. Like, is he gonna be like for breaking stuff like that?
We'll probably throw some fourth wall jokes in there. I mean, he's literally
he do whatever he wants.
He's built different. Yeah,
he's built different.
You know, what was his title? He has to say his name every time.
So anytime he beats somebody's ass, he has his catchphrase says, "My name is Bill T. DeFront," and the T stands for that nigga. And so, And so some random ass object, whether it be like a dog or a mosquito, it always come in the background and be like, "You tell him, Bill." And so Bill T, because he built different.
Yeah, I want that on my gravestone.
Ray was built different,
but it's got to be spelled out like that. So people be like, "What does that mean?" And then one day somebody go get it and be like, "Oh!"
yeah.
So yeah, that's our third little parody series that we decided to make into an actual thing.
Holy shit! I love
so you have the
y'all,
concept,
y'all just
the idea.
got so many good damn ideas. I love
That's
it.
why we taking on more writers.
Yeah, we're gonna need them at this point because like I told Patrick, by myself I have like 7 series to write. Patrick has what, 2 or 3?
Yeah, I got like 2 or 3.
And now we got Bill, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, damn, I got 3, and that's pushing it. Pushing it.
So
hey, somebody told you to wrap it up, bro. That's the theater sign right there.
it kind of is. That's too great. So for the 2 hours and 10 minutes of me having the show, I did not put light on. Now I am.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Uh-oh. He getting his ass dragged. Yep.
So the question was that, is there a document where we can lead to people to sign up for applying positions or application, where we could put it in the chat, in the description, if people want to say like, hey, can I put my resume or put the application in, where can we send them to, or do you guys not have that yet?
Nah, we don't have that yet. I'm not making, and I told myself we weren't making any moves until GodPunch Chapter 3 dropped. Like, that's the priority right now. Once 3 drops, then, we'll focus on that. Then I need to have a meeting with Jordan, our attorney, so we could draft up the legal documentation, the NDAs, because whoever I put on my team is going to know the ending of GodPunch. And
of course.
Yeah, if you break that, I will sue you. But yeah. So we're still, getting things together, but right now dropping Chapter 3 is our priority. I don't want to take a day away from the project anymore. I don't want my team to have to worry about anything else right now, but making sure that we get this chapter out and that we properly promote it and that we start getting everything together for these hard copies. But I've talked about it a little more, just to kind of put the bug out there, kind of get people excited, get people interested. But, once we do decide that, we're ready to start taking those applications and those resumes and things like that, then, we'll make that announcement, via the Team GodPunch page.
And I think you were just saying if we had somewhere to for people to send resumes and stuff, I think it would be a good idea for us to eventually probably put something like almost like a job application page,
like a career on the website,
a career thing on our website, so people can just go through that and it'll go straight to our emails. So yeah.
So Chaz, and I know that if first follow Team GodPunch, you will find in the description below for the link. And now follow Pat and follow Yin, so you can guys be informed and be ready when they finally put out that link and be informed about that.
Quick question: do y'all have a newsletter or a centralized place where people can learn about the updates to all of your series, if you have any that are coming out?
That was actually one thing that my marketer Evan talked to us about. He wants to get a newsletter started, and so I'm actually about to put a multimedia team around him too. So your graphic designer, someone who is good with handling social media handles, things of that nature. We're gonna have positions open for that as well, because I don't want to put too much stress on him. So it's all coming.
All right, bet. All right, so pay attention, y'all. Pay attention.
The team is about to expand drastically, and for those who kind of know how we interact, we're a very goofy bunch, but we're very family oriented, and we're gonna do 2 things: we're gonna travel and we're gonna eat.
That's beautiful. That's the most important part, and that's beautiful that you guys have that vision.
Yeah. And eating.
GodPunch model, baby. We
and plus, And plus for Pat, most important is drinking and eating and also being horny. That's also most important for Pat.
I was gonna leave him alone. Okay, I wasn't
Yeah,
gonna say
man,
nothing.
we were so good, like
I
avoiding
wasn't
that.
gonna say nothing because I mean, leading up to this, I was like, let me be good so I can talk my shit to Pat, and so it's fine.
I was on my best behavior tonight. I was only drunk.
You were. I'm
best
really
behavior.
proud of you. I feel like
Like 45 minutes of the pod.
I feel like we both did a really good job. I'm proud of us.
Now tomorrow I'm not gonna make no promises because my birthday is in 29 minutes.
Technically, birthday's already started in here.
Technically in New York.
There, technically there. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ray, what do you want to do your song now?
Pat, you want me to Teddy Pendergrass you?
Yeah, of course, brother. We can do it at the end of the interview. We gotta end it with a bang. We're gonna end it with a bang.
All right. You want to say how old you turning?
Yeah, we do 29.
29. Ooh, that's a good one. All right.
29, bro.
Let me roll up my sleeves.
Go ahead, bro.
All right.
Let me get comfortable.
My boy Pat. It's his birthday, y'all. Chat. It's Pat's birthday. 29th birthday. That's a big one, because it's the last year of your 20s. Now you get to start real life because 20s was just the prequel, okay? Once you get into your 30s, that's when life actually starts. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, having fun.
All right, so this for Pat, chat. All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear sweet horny Pat, who I love so much, and he's my boy. Yeah. Happy birthday to you. That's my boy right there.
Brother. Appreciate that, brother.
I had to do it to him, chat.
I feel it all in there.
Had to do it to him.
I feel it all in there, brother. All in there. Warm tenderly filthy.
One day.
Me, I just hope with this whole pandemic and everything, hopefully cons open at least by the end of the year so I can see Pat and Yin at New York Comic Con or Anime NYC. So I can be like, yo, you finally get the booth again. Yo, nice to see you.
I'm in November, I am planning a trip out there, regardless of if there's a con. I would love to drag a Yende with me, but I definitely want to come back to New York in November.
Well, you already know two of the teams of Anime Ladies here. James has spoken that he plans to go, but depends on him and his ladies. So, hey, if we could all make it out here during con, we will see how it works because that is definitely we'll hope to see.
Oh, yeah.
Also, chat, can you say happy birthday to Pat over here too?
Yes, for
Please,
chat is still here right now. Put happy birthday and or you wanna post sweet horny Pat, whichever works for you guys.
Can we get that trending on Twitter? I think we can get that trending on Twitter. I think so.
Horny Pat.
Sweet horny Pat.
Hashtag sweet horny Pat.
Horny
Yep.
Pat.
Yep. All right. So chat, you know what you do? Get on Twitter. Happy birthday. Hashtag sweet horny Pat. At Gumbo Goon. Nailed it.
And by the way,
That's something.
by the way, guys, a shameless plug. If you guys ever want to hear Ray sing a happy birthday to you, just go to him live on Saturdays and Sundays where he's live.
You gotta come to stream.
Yeah, be on stream and say it's your birthday and prove.
If it's actually not your birthday, I'm gonna roast you.
Yeah, prove with your license. Send him your license picture and everything.
Whoa.
We use the honor system around here, okay? But if I
find
find out,
the system when I go to restaurants, so it's always my
see that's fine. No, I don't care.
Yeah.
Get your free dessert as much as you can get your free
Hell
dessert. You know what I'm saying?
My favorite dessert was
I am not a Chili's. I don't
hot chocolate cake with cold vanilla ice cream was my favorite as my free dessert. When I said, yeah, it's my birthday, even though my birthday was like 3 months ago, I'd be like, yeah, it's my birthday. Oh, I don't have my license on me, but yeah, it's my birthday though.
Man, so like over the Christmas break, we was traveling because my birthday is over Christmas break. And I picked up, like I ordered like a pizza for pickup from this place, and it turns out it was a bar. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. So I walk up to the bar and I'm like, hey, it was my birthday like 2 days ago. I ain't getting no birthday shot.
Wow.
And he was like, oh, word? I was like, yeah, bro. I ain't get to go nowhere, and he was like, "Oh, okay, what you want?" And I'm like, "Word."
Since you asking,
I'm like, "Yeah, since you asking," I was just like making conversation.
Hey, but this is in the house, right?
it's on the house.
Yeah,
Shit.
I was like, "Okay, yeah, give me that."
It's
Like
my
that.
homeboy birthday back there too.
like it's his birthday. I'll take his drink too.
You see that, man?
Yeah.
We share a birthday, so that's two.
Yeah.
God, it was like, oh, okay, that does work. Okay,
We fraternal twins.
Oh man. But no, thank y'all so much for being here.
I likewise.
love y'all. I legitimately love talking with y'all. Y'all my boys, for real.
Always, man.
I mean, and that's not saying that I love everybody else that come on the show, but y'all my boys. That's what I'm saying.
It's always good to be amongst family, man. I'm so happy, and I wanted to bring my birthday in with y'all, man. So
We appreciate that.
I'm glad. That makes me happy, man.
Yeah, it was awesome to have you guys back.
We was fast friends, like real quick. Yeah.
If it was props to Yin, like throughout the whole time of the podcast, guys, if if you guys didn't notice, he was answering questions, answering your guys' question, and talking to us, and at the same time finishing chapter 3 of GodPunch that's supposed to release less than 24 hours. So that is commitment. That is a lot of pressure, but at the same time, he loves doing it. So that's why he's here on the show, but also drawing at the same time.
yeah, that's the beauty of having a team that want it just as bad as you do. Everybody hungry.
Facts.
Just so that our thumbnail kind of makes sense in a way. Do you think the doctor can handle the tall vampire mommy?
Look, let's not even front, okay? We still can give her the hands real easy, all right? She got them mommy milkers, but they ain't gonna stop them fist of fury, okay? You know what I'm saying?
But like, she's 9 feet tall though. She's like 9 feet.
Still, I mean, they can both get it, is what I'm saying.
I mean,
But it's fine.
She has the claws like Lust from Fullmetal Alchemist, though, too.
Okay, that's fine.
And Sam, and my thumbnails never have to make sense. I could add Sesame Street on it, and people don't have to ask why.
I would ask why.
That I would ask why, honestly.
Well, I would have some weird stuff on it. Just don't ask why sometimes. It's just stuff happen, and it's there.
I don't know, bro. Sometimes somebody needs to rein you in. Like, okay, we need to talk, all right? Relax.
Oh yeah, YouTube has done it to me where they're like, "Yo, this is too much boobs. This is too much boobs on thumbnail. I'm gonna get rid of it." I'm like, "Damn, YouTube, I'm not home. Can you wait until I get home to remove a whole thumbnail out of my video?" Yeah, so drag me mother effers.
That's all right. You know, we do what we can so we don't go back to YouTube jail. But Sam, it's that time, baby. Take us home.
All right, guys. First, Yin, can you give us your plugs first, and then we'll give Pat's plugs.
Yes. Okay. So Twitter is yin_designs. Instagram is Kokajin Creates. And that's about it for me. I mean, we already know the website is teamgodpunch.com. So,
Facts.
For me, catch me on Twitter at Gumbo Boom. Catch me on Clubhouse too. I've been on Clubhouse. P Thomas06. Instagram at GodPunch Pat. Shout out to my brother LS for dropping Shade of Red #4. Y'all make sure y'all go peep that on Webtoon. Shout out to my brother Chris. He's dropping Gray. Shout out to my brother Talal. He got Shrine of the Monarchs. Got all my family, dropping their own individual respective projects. We all in this together, man. It's the Great Pirate Age of Mangaka.
Ray, James,
tell them where they can find you, my friend.
Yeah, you guys know you can find me here every single week on the Anime Lately podcast. Check us out on Villains on Monday, where we're going to be talking about WandaVision episode 6. You guys are going to get a double episode of Villains next week, so definitely check that out. We have a lot of news that happened over the past week, so Monday we have so much stuff to talk about. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Careful for Spoilers on YouTube. Make sure you guys are following us on Twitter for updates on future episodes and topics. And yeah, see you guys on the next one.
Beautiful. I can't wait. I mean, if you didn't listen to the episode of Villains that I was on, first of all, mistake. You need to go fix that right now because it was a good time. Real good time. I love talking with my boys, especially when we can talk about, we love talking about anime. We can talk about comics and movies. It's a real good time. We have fantastic conversations. So go subscribe to Careful Spoilers. Go listen to Villains because it is a very, very good show, and I mean that. All right, but look, I don't like to talk about myself, but you know who I am. I'm Ray Apollo. Go, just Google it. Okay. At this point, I think I come up in the Google search. That's not a flex. All right. So go do it. I love that. I'm on Twitch. I'm on Twitter. I'm on YouTube. I love to talk about video games. I love to talk about anime, and I love just living while I can. You know what I'm saying? So let's get it.
And for me, guys, follow me at Legendary Vash everywhere. You can find the Anime Lily team down below in the description for everything. We have a big plan already. I scheduled the people for March. We have Roger Bates coming back. We have Sensei the Glove with his co-host GB from Worst Gen Podcast. And we have Chris from the creator from Gray. That's what I meant to say, for next month of March. So we already have a big month coming up with the next couple of weeks, and we don't have the confirmation for next week guest. I will tell you guys that on Twitter sometime this week or next week, so definitely stay tuned for that. Sam, take us home.
Thank you guys for listening and for watching. And remember, less than 24 hours, Chapter 3 of Team GodPunch. The Doctor will see you soon. Peace.
Take care.